I mean, yes.
Ready to die. Jesus Christ.
I'm the Inquisitor.
All right, we're live. We're out here.
Live.
We're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are Geek Garden, and this is Stay Indoors, the only podcast on the internet that is officially going on the Santa Hat adventures. I am as always, I'm Kelly McCabe, and I'm joined by the bell-ringing Brandon Horn.
Ooh, ding, ding, ding.
The sleigh-riding Sean Fabish.
Ho ho ho.
And the jingle jangling jolly Jacktan.
I don't have no bells. I can't do anything.
Now we are here.
And the Krampus Kelly shit.
Hey,
Oh shit! I actually didn't think of that.
that's great. But you also could have said Kringle, but that's fine.
I literally couldn't think of anything K except for Krampus. And you know
Fine.
whose fault it is? It's Josh, Naomi, and Lauren's. And the reason is because we play Don't Starve together sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And in the winter, if you kill too many innocent animals, Krampus comes and steals your shit.
Amazing.
It's
Nice.
very fun.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so good.
That game is very hard.
So Sean, I guess you can start us off. How's your week going, man? How are you doing? You're playing Starve Together. That's great.
Yeah, Don't Starve Together. Very good game. Highly recommend. So good things about this week. Josh, Zach, and I had a little brother bonding experience trying to 3-man the raid last night and the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Like the raid requires 6 people for the mechanics. Like you guys have done
on
that.
Destiny. On Destiny, clarify.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the raid that we did?
No. But
Okay.
it's the new raid,
Gotcha.
which is in some ways more difficult and in some ways easier. And we managed to do the first 3 encounters. So that's like if Josh, Zach, and I did dogs, did gauntlet, and did baths with only 3 people.
Right.
So it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
We failed a lot, and
Of course.
it was a lot of like, how are we gonna do this? Like this, that, this, and the other thing. But it was really good. The only bad thing really in this week, other than just general COVID blues, has been the new restrictions lasting until Christmas, because I am very
Until after Christmas.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess for those who don't live in like BC, so we have like our restrictions on right now, which is essentially a lockdown for the most part, with some weird exceptions for unfortunate reasons, but essentially our update was yesterday and they're now being extended to January 8th, I believe.
Yeah. It sucks. I would like to see my family. I would like to see my girlfriend. And neither of those things are really happening right now. And it's just kind of wearing on me. And I'm still unsure if I'm actually going to stay here for Christmas or if I'm going to be basically going to go see my family for like 2 weeks and then just be like, if I get COVID, then I'm staying there for the foreseeable future. But if not, then I'm coming home.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. If I go there, it'll be for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it.
That's what's up.
That's what's
Jack,
up.
Jack, how you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm just basically here fucking waiting until my computer shows up.
I asked why he was downstairs, and he's like, my computer's supposed to be here, and I'm fucking waiting for the door to ring.
Hey, you know, that could be fun though. We could get like a live delivery. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah.
It's like watching you get a Christmas present live on the air.
Look at that.
On the air,
Look at
real
that.
time, no lag. Yeah.
No lag, real shit. I
No
love
lag,
that.
real
Yeah, that's
time.
you're just kind of in that waiting pattern, hanging out.
Yep. Apparently also the Kate Bishop thing is out today, so.
Yes. That may or may not have been part of why I was late.
You motherfucker!
Oh,
You motherfucker!
I was all set up and I was like, I'm ready to go. I'll just play some video games while I wait. And then I was like, it's just one mission. It can't be that long. And then I looked at my phone and it was like 11:31 and I was like, haha, whoops. And now I'm here.
That said, though,
Yeah.
I think this is the earliest we've ever started.
Right?
It's true. And
Good-
yeah, you
good
can
job,
totally
Sean.
blame somebody that's not here, right? Not only.
Fair enough. Brandon, how you doing? What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm kind of like it's really I've been having a lot of guilt the last couple of days because of these new quarantine measures. Because I'm still seeing my parents and my sister over Christmas just because we've been like essentially quarantining with each other anyways, and my parents aren't seeing anyone else outside their household. Like, it's just been them and my sister, and they've been up back and forth because like Janine kind of lives here, and they've been like up here renovating, and it's been like that like all quarantine. It's been kind of strange because obviously you guys know the details, but like being in my recently deceased grandma's house and just like there was stuff going on all the time, so I've essentially seen them all the time nonstop through all of quarantine. So seeing them for Christmas isn't really much of a difference at all. But I feel bad because obviously Sean, there's a good chance he's not seeing his family at all. We were supposed to be at Julie's family this year for Christmas. That's not happening. But beyond that, both Julie and I are kind of excited to have like a quiet Christmas. We're really excited for it to just be like really small, and like we have the cat this year, which is really nice. Which is really cool. And but yeah, I'm feeling guilty because I'm like, I feel like I'm not really losing out on much. Like obviously there's like my entire extended family that I would normally see and stuff for Christmas, but yeah, I'm just not seeing them. But I'm happy to just have like a nice quiet, not a lot going on Christmas, not have to like after Christmas morning, like make sure like I'm rested and dressed and ready to go out for dinner, that kind of fucking thing. I can just like chill out and just like have like a nice time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, other than that, work has been way better recently. Like I feel like we're kind of on this kind of like we're kind of just like riding out until we're closed for Christmas, which is nice. And I've been essentially going to work and just having a chill day, and yeah, it's been I feel guilty that I've been having a decent time, and I'm going to be having a decent time for the rest of the month essentially. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Don't feel guilty on my account.
No, I know. I'm very aware.
I'm an adult and I will make my own decisions.
Are you
No,
sure?
I know.
So
You're a bad person. You should feel bad.
That's
Yeah.
exactly.
But-
See,
but
Yeah.
the
to
angel
be
and the
fair-
devil on my shoulders. You guys keep me in check.
But to be fair, my favorite thing about fucking Christmas morning is literally not getting out of my pajamas all day.
Yeah.
And just,
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Fucking chilling there,
Yeah, dude.
being like, hello, extended family. I look like a slob. Yes, I woke up at 8. And no, I didn't go to bed last night.
Yeah. I am.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say a couple of other things I'd like to add is that like Julie and I have always wanted to have kind of like a little bit of a Christmas morning on our own, and just because of just like crazy family traditions, and like Christmas is really important in my family and especially my mom's side of the family, that has never really come up that way. Like Julie has always just been a part of like our kind of like big Christmas morning tradition, but because we have a pet this year and we can't really leave the pet overnight, we're like, oh well, I guess we got to stay here and like have. So we're excited to have like our own little kind of like just the two of us like Christmas morning, and then the other thing was that, and I've already told Sean this, is that if Sean doesn't end up going to his family's, then I'm very excited to have Sean around for Christmas too, because I just think that'd be really nice and kind of cute to have kind of like a bit of a friend miss essentially, and I'm kind of excited. One of Julie and I's 2 children.
Sean's the major.
I've been
major one,
adopted.
I mean, he's older than you, but
He's still my
True.
son.
okay.
True.
But yeah, anyways. But yeah,
Yeah.
Kelly, how have you been, my man?
I've been
Mr.
pretty
Krampus?
good. The naughty children get the birch stick, yeah. I've been pretty good.
You're giving Sean PTSD.
Krampus, no.
You know, it's kind of weird for me because like I don't go out and see anybody anyway. Because
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere. I go to physio now twice a week, and that's it.
That's it.
But Sam and I got a big box of stuff from like her family, which included like a big 1,000-piece puzzle of like candy wrappers.
Oh shit.
That's fun.
So
Nice.
I had to like figure out how to like that's sitting on this table, and like we got like the outside edge. So my laptop little stand and stuff is basically like I like pushed
In
all
the
the
middle
puzzle
of
pieces
it.
out of the way. So yeah, like the stand that my laptop is in the middle of the puzzle right now.
Nice.
So we've been doing that. We've got like our little artificial tree, and that's got lights on it and everything.
Oh, I have something else to add after you're done, but I remember tree stuff.
Get that. So yeah, it's been obviously the news today about like Christmas stuff really sucks, because already I was just gonna go see like my like sort of immediate family. I wasn't gonna go up to my grandma's and do the big like
Yeah.
extended family thing this year.
We want to see your mom and your siblings and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're thinking, like Sam and I were just spitballing this morning. We don't have any actual plans. We haven't talked to my parents or anything. We're thinking we might try to do something on Zoom, and then go over and like drop off our gifts and like put them on the stairs, and then like
hi.
let them give us gifts and like say hi and kind of like from
Aw,
a distance
yeah.
or whatever.
That'd be cute.
But not actually like go inside, just to see them. Like my littlest sister is probably very big, now, and it's weird because I just haven't seen her in so long.
How old is she now?
She is 11.
Fuck off. Jesus.
Age only goes up, Brandon. I don't know why you're
Fuck you,
surprised.
Sean.
Yeah, we're in shock.
I just
in case you
forget
look
how much
down.
older I
People
am.
age?
Shut the fuck up. I hate you.
She might actually be. No, she's
12.
not 13. I'm trying to remember like the
Fuck off.
What-
the,
yeah, like
the
what year was she
differences
born?
and like the gaps. I don't remember. But it's 10 years and then 2 years and then 4 years. Yeah, so she's 11.
Damn.
She's 11.
Damn.
I really hope that's correct. Otherwise, this is really embarrassing. But yeah, it's just kind of weird vibes. But Sam and I always have like Christmas Eve and Christmas morning to ourselves anyways. Like that's gonna be pretty much the same, which is nice.
That's chill. That's nice.
And then yeah, I've been playing Hollow Knight. I've basically finished, but like because I've got like this, you get like the Void Heart edition or whatever. It has all like the DLC,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a whole DLC thing that I didn't even realize that I missed. So I'm like running that right now. That's been really fun. Just doing some writing, drawing, usual stuff. And yeah, the Kate Bishop thing for Avengers came out. So that's seems good. I'm doing the first mission.
Cool.
It seems like fun.
It better be good.
Do you have enough? Do you have enough to chat about that later? For Avengers Assembled, or not really? Not yet. Maybe next week.
Not yet. Not yet. There actually was something I wanted to say about it, about
It's
Avengers,
bad?
but it was like some other
Okay.
thing.
Well, if you think
it was
about
kind
it.
of small, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
No, anyway, the other thing I was going to add, first of all, chat, yes, we got gifts for buttons. We definitely got gifts for buttons. Julie also put things on her Christmas list for buttons. So
Nice.
there are presents for
Nice.
buttons.
Cat
No,
mom.
so as you guys know, like usually we go to like a big farm
know anything.
each year to get a Christmas tree.
Mhm.
And obviously we weren't sure like how that was going to happen with like quarantine and everything, but it's also like a big farm, so I was like, oh, there's a chance you can just like social distance it or whatever. So essentially the way they had it work was that like you could still show up just essentially wherever you wanted and get a tree. Sorry, to give context, I'm rambling. This is a place I used to go every year since I was like 3, I think 2 or 3. So we've been going for like 25 years or something ridiculous. And so every year we show up, they're like, oh my god, it's the Horns, it's the, you know, my extended family and all them. They're like, hey, we're wonderful to see you. Yeah, they always give us like a great deal on like freshly cut Christmas trees. It's really fun. Anyways, so yeah, we weren't sure what was going to happen this year, and then they said that you can essentially show up, but they're no longer allowing people to cut trees. They just pre-cut them all, and you just have to pick them, and they're like, that's fair, because then there's like less saws being like handed around or whatever, right? But they also weren't like letting people like essentially stick around. You essentially had to show up, pick a tree, and go. And if you wanted to stay, you had to like reserve a campfire. And they just have like a bunch of like campfires set up. It's a beautiful place. Fucking love it. Kelly, you've been. Sean, have you been? No, I don't think you've been.
Dude, I don't go places.
But I know Kelly's been. But anyways, so we were like, okay, cool, like that's awesome, like because a bunch of our other like family traditions have been obviously been canceled. Like usually we do like a skate, and then we do like a bunch of like obviously we do like Christmas Day and all that kind of stuff. So we were really like kind of stoked that this is like the one thing that we could still do. Like we could all just mask up and like hang around at this farm. And then we're all excited. We're supposed to go this weekend, and then 2 days ago on Facebook they posted that they sold out of trees, and we're like,
Sold out.
fuck.
Wow.
No, like straight up we were like, fuck, that fucking sucks. And so we were all like super bummed, disappointed. So my mom was like freaking out. She's like, holy shit, I gotta find a tree. So she starts looking places. Meanwhile, my cousin who had like made the reservation for the campfire, she like called them and was like, hey, like I saw your Facebook post, are there actually no trees? Like just like, you know, like it's us, like are there any more, kind of a thing, right? And they actually reserved 4 trees that we were allowed to cut down, which is really, really chill.
Wow.
But the thing is that we have more than 4 families because like normally it would be 4 because, or no, actually normally it would be 3 because it's like the Horns, and then I have one other family, the Lewises, and another family called the Charltons. But all of those families have at least one kid that's now like moved out and like living with their significant other, maybe even has kids. So there's then another 3 households that like need Christmas trees, but she only got 4, one for herself, and then the 3 like default family, I don't know what you'd call that, like OG families. I don't know.
Default families.
So there's still not one for me. And so my mom was still like, fuck, we have to find you a fucking Christmas tree. Like, and I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. It's fine. And she's like driving around. She's going to Rona. She's going to Dykhoff's plant store. She's like driving all the place. And all they had, like, she went to Rona. They had 3 trees left. And they were all like, and they were all just like 4-foot trees. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I'm going to Dykhoff, see what they see.
What's wrong with a short king tree?
And so she went to Dykhoff's, and Dykhoff's had a bunch of tall firs and then short nobles. And firs are like, nobles are the really nice ones for people who don't know anything about Christmas. Like the really fancy ones are kind of like a bluey green color, and their needles don't fall off, and they're really dense, kind of a thing. They're really dense. And then the regular firs are really tall, but they're really like, they're awful apparently. Like apparently they were like missing so many branches and like super fucking uneven and shit like that. And I was like, Mom, it's fine. Just get us like a short noble. Like, it's fine. She's like, okay, all I have is the car, so I'll pay for it, and then I'll get your father to pick it up later in the truck. And I was like, that sounds great, Mom. Thank you. That's fantastic. And then I start getting ready for work, and I get a knock on my door, and I'm like, what the fuck? I assumed it was like a package being delivered. I open it, and my mom is standing there with a Christmas tree, and I'm like, oh, you brought it? She's like, yeah, I just thought it was short enough. I fucking shoved it in the back seat. And so she just took this tree and shoved it in the back seat of her car, and the dog is in the front seat, just like, what is going on? It's just too funny. So she dropped off this tree, and now it's in our living room now, and we put it like up on a table. So it's like in a stand, and then the stand is like up on a table. So it looks like it's like a 6-foot tree, but it's actually just like a 4-foot tree. But we're tricking all of our neighbors, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, because like the shame that would be brought to this household if we had a 4-foot tall tree.
Exactly.
Shit. Also, I love that you guys have standards for Christmas trees, because I'm like, is it green? Does it have branches? Throw it in the truck.
Well, I know it is kind of funny, but like we've been cutting down real trees again, like my whole life, and every day Brennan cuts down a tree. I'm actually a mini lumberjack.
Yeah, fucking no shit.
But the biggest difference is, for those who care, the biggest difference is that regular firs do have like a more like, I don't know, like normal green color that you'd expect, but their branches are really limp. So if you try to hang shit on it, the branches just like, they like to dip a lot, and also they're usually just like less dense, and their needles fall off way easier. So they make a huge mess in your house. They're not very good for decorating. But noble firs are way more expensive, like almost 50% more expensive, but they're usually way more dense. Their needles don't fall off as much, and they have really dense branches, so they're really like easy to decorate. And that's why I always like it in noble firs, just because there's enough shit that goes on during Christmas. I just have a easy tree, easy tree that works with me. But yeah, anyways, that was my...
for the tree quality being easy. Yes, I'd like my video game Easy. Is there a DLC I can buy?
Fuck off.
Or Easy Tree?
There is for Ubisoft. You just get the XP booster.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
You just skip playing the game to beat the game. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was
buy orcs.
That was an exciting thing that happened to me the last couple of days. Now we have our tree a little bit earlier than we expected, so it's nice.
Well, there you go, man. That's a heckin' tree.
And Sean also has his tree, I guess, because it's our house's tree.
I mean,
congratulations, Sean. You have a Christmas tree.
Holy fuck. Yeah.
I know you care a lot.
It's not that I don't care. It's nice having a tree. I'm never upstairs.
You didn't care.
I see it like twice a day.
In a dungeon.
Yeah, I fucking feel like I live in a dungeon. I spend 90% of my time in this room.
I know. You don't have to tell me. I know.
Well, I know you know. I know you know. Does it look like I'm both yelling at you on the screen and...
It does.
Good.
Whatever. It's very appropriate that you and I are on the same side, above and below each other.
Double meaning.
On the meeting. Very funny.
Yeah, look at the metaphor. Fucking Lucifer fallen from grace over here. Anyway, enough about me being like the morning star. What's up?
What's we talking about
What's the topic today?
All right, so
What are we talking?
I woke up. No, this is before I went to bed last night. Correction. It's before I went to bed last night, and I suddenly had this realization. I was like, shit. I forgot to play Fall Guys the last couple days. I think the season might be over, and I didn't get the stuff I wanted. And it actually gave me like legitimate anxiety, and I had a hard time going to bed last night because of it. Because I was like, wow, I was like trying to finish this season, and now it's just gone. I got up this morning, and it's actually, it ends in 2 days. So I played a little bit of Fall Guys, and I got like the one like the like Elder Dwarf costume. He's got like the beard and the like big helmet and stuff. But it made me think about how shitty modern video games are, and how much seasonal stuff sucks because it's just all built around FOMO. And I just wanted to rap about that with you guys for a little while, and get your thoughts, get your feelings. I genuinely think that like once I finish this season, just because I've already put in all the effort on Fall Guys, I think I'm gonna like stop playing, potentially even uninstall. Like, I've come this far, so I'm gonna do it, but it really put me off the game when I had this feeling of like all that like wasted effort essentially.
Yo,
It's a weird thing because I think it's something that it's still new, right? Like that the concept of like a live service game, or a game that at least like adds content. I wouldn't necessarily call them live service, but games that add content with seasons. It's kind of weird because like it's shitty because that FOMO happens, and we're like, well, I gotta play because I gotta get the thing. But from the developer's perspective, the thing exists simply to either keep you interested or bring in new players. And I think it's taking a lot of like I guess I'm being a sympathizer for the developers from this angle, is that like they do have to do something to keep the like, so for instance I'm thinking of like Overwatch, for instance, right? They do their seasonal things every season. I don't know, they do like 6 events, 7 events every year, so more than the seasons, but anyways, and they add new skins and everything, and I think. And it wants to bring in new players. It wants you to come back and play that game, and they have to do something in order to do that. They have to do something in order to keep people from playing their game, keep people playing their game, not keep them from playing their game, keep them playing the game. And I feel like we kind of have to learn to just like not feel bad about missing out. Like, I think it sucks, but like that's kind of like it's just everywhere now, that I feel like we have to kind of take a bit of like okay, like, it's not that big of a deal if I miss that fucking skin. Like, I'll just miss it. But I'm excited that so-and-so really wants that skin, and he's never played this game before, so he's like stoked to come in and get this skin and like have a good time playing the game for the first time. I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but it's just kind of like, I feel like that's a perspective where the video games have to do something in order to, or the developers have to do something in order to keep their player base playing. And I don't know I don't know if there's an alternative or solution. At least I don't know one.
There is one thing that comes to mind for me, like to fix the season pass model, because I hate that it's a linear progression. For some things it makes sense. Like, for instance, in Destiny, it's the only one that I have a lot of experience with, so I'm gonna use it as an example.
Have you played Destiny before, Sean?
Oh.
So yes. So basically
okay.
how it works is like, it's the same way. You level up by doing experience, you get experience by doing bounties, playing the game, shooting dudes, whatever. And then the last like 20 are probably the best ones,
Obviously.
but the middle ones are like also the best one, because you get the armor set that has like the best like perks essentially. So it has the best roll, and so then you're like, oh well, I'll get the armor, and then the last one is all the cosmetic shit. But the thing is I want all the cosmetic shit, so I have to grind to the fucking end. But like a thing like Fall Guy, when it's just skins and it's just like different versions of that skin, I don't see why you don't earn like season currency or season credits, and you still go through the season pass, whatever, you earn your like thing, but then you earn this sort of season currency that goes towards buying things that are like the seasonal cosmetics that you want. So you're not like, I have to get to the last one because it's the most important, when you as the developer who made all the skins are like, they're all good and I like them all, but I just make one more important by putting it at the end. And so it would be kind of nice just to like not do that and just be like, it's dealer's choice, you get to pick whatever you want.
Yeah,
as
like it'd
you
be
play.
yeah, like instead of it being, because I know how in Fall Guys when you go to the store page, it's always 3 random items that like rotate daily or whatever the hell it is, right? And then those are also seasonal related depending on what the hell's going on. It'd be nice if there was just a store that just had everything in it, and then yeah, like Sean was saying, you accumulate like a currency that you just spend those on. And the other example I can think of is Overwatch, where when a new season comes out, they unlock new skins, and they're more expensive than the default nice skins. And like I kind of get that, like that doesn't really bother me that much, but when that season's over, the skin locks and you can't buy it the rest of the year, and you have to wait until that season comes up again in order to have the opportunity to buy it, which that again is like shitty. Like that sucks, because it's like you want to get the right amount of points before the season's over to then buy it. And like that like, and I feel like just a weird add-on, I feel like those kind of shit like really, I find it always bugs us this part of the year. And Kelly, I always find that you bring it up this time of the year because, like, well, it's because this is the time of year where, like, you're busy. You're fucking trying to, like, plan shit. I mean, this year's obviously a little different, but, like, you're usually trying to plan shit with your family. You're trying to do stuff during Christmas, take advantage of the season. But every video game you play is like, we have a Christmas event going on, a Winter Wonderland event, and you got to get all the fucking winter shit. And you're like, I don't have time for you, motherfucker, but the FOMO is real. And it sucks.
I want to raise a couple counterpoints to some of the things you said, Brandon, and you actually brought up kind of a counterpoint to your own point yourself.
Hell
just
yeah.
there. But with Overwatch in particular, no, it's just a discussion.
I'm a big fan.
But in Overwatch in particular, like, yeah, it sucks to like miss out on a thing, but like arguably if you're invested enough that you kind of keep coming back, you know, you do get to get those skins again.
Yeah, another opportunity comes
like
up.
If you miss like getting a Christmas skin for Tracer, you can get that Christmas skin next year, and it's actually cheaper. So if you've been waiting, you've probably got enough coins by now that you can just get it. You just get that skin.
Plus, if you play the game regularly, you will have enough currency.
You'll have the credits.
Skin comes out, it's only like what 3 times the normal one. So like by then you should still be able to like get it if you really wanted that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that. Like, I think Overwatch is actually an example of doing it pretty well, because like it's annoying to not get the skin, but if like we end up coming back to Overwatch every so often just because it's the fun game to play with friends, and so you can pop back in, and then inevitably when the new season rolls around, it's like, oh hey, I didn't get that skin last year, I really liked it, I can pick it up. It's again, it's not ideal, but it's like I think the best version of that.
It's almost like an okay amount of FOMO. It's like it's like enough there to be like, okay, yeah, like I'll try and get it. But if you miss out, you're like, that's okay, I'll get it next time.
It's not like the battle pass things and stuff like that, which are absolutely garbage. Especially because Sean, when you explained the Destiny model, I immediately hated it. I was because like the gear, I get that like cosmetics and stuff like that are in the battle pass for a reason, because like it's like cosmetics and then it's like a seasonal thing, so that's great and all. But then when you introduce actual gear, which have stats in them, and then like whether depending if they're either good or bad doesn't really matter. But like again, they're still in the battle pass, and then you can't get it anywhere else. You're like, what if I really wanted this gear? Like not just because it's maybe better or bad or whatever, then like I can't get it anywhere else.
I mean, like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but the other thing is that you're gonna roll gear that's just as good anyway.
No, I know, and I get that, but I'm saying like putting gear or putting items in a battle pass which have actual stats related to the game.
Yeah,
is what I absolutely hate the most in a battle pass.
Like
I don't know, it's just like my tiers. It's just like putting gear and there's just like super low there. But like when you're putting like, cosmetics, you're like, okay, that's fine. Okay, like I can deal with that. But when you're putting gear in there,
like. Yeah, absolutely. Like, if I had my own way, it would be all cosmetic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still get all that stuff in the game, but the specific roles are really good in the battle pass. That's kind of the problem.
Like, what if they're really good, and then like,
I mean,
people
they
have a higher edge and stuff like that. And you're like, well, okay.
I find that kind of system can, at least for me, like my mentality when I think about stuff like that, it's actually off-putting to try to get into like a new game.
Yeah.
If it's been a live service thing that has that kind of system, because there can be people who can have equipment that you just like you can never get.
Yep. Yep. It's called the Fellwinter's Lie. It's the best shotgun in the game, and I'm the only person who doesn't have it.
Yeah, and like it sucks. And even if it's a game that you like, even if it's a game that you like and you just like took a break for a little while, like For Honor recently had a they had like one of their, because they added like their battle passes, right, that add new stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until like it was almost over that it was like this really cool like Sylvan theme where you could get like emerald and silver weapons that had like leaf and plant designs, and you got like these like druidic masks that had like antlers, and you had all these like new effects and stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it's just gone now. Like, I've been playing For Honor since the beta. I still go back to it occasionally. It's like, why can't I get that shit just because I had fucking surgery, dude. Like, I had shit going on in my life.
Yeah.
I paid you money. That's the other thing that I was going to say, Brandon, was that, like, if it's a free-to-play game and they need to drive that, that's one thing. It's like, get over it. If you're not there, you're not there, because we need people in it to be spending money, because otherwise the game dies.
Yeah.
But, like, if it's a game that you have to pay money for, I should then be able to access everything in the game. And I don't mind if, like, it's a For Honor model where they have a battle pass and you can get it essentially, like, for free just by playing, and then later they put it in their own, like, store, so you have to, like, spend steel on it or something, which you can then spend real money on. That would be fine with me. But give me, so, like, you know, the incentive is still there, like, oh, fuck yeah, I can get it for free, I can just play and get it. It's still going to get me invested. But if I don't get it because something comes up, or I didn't have enough time to play, or whatever it is, or I literally didn't even fucking know it was happening, then I can come back and be like, oh shit, they added all this cool new shit, as opposed to, like, I don't know, I can't get that cool thing now. I don't really want to fuck with that.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, like, to add to like I don't know if, like, the game entirely owes you everything for paying for it. Like, there are games where I pay full price for it and it feels like I've gotten my money's worth, and then there's more content, and then at that point I'm like, well, this costs money for you to develop and make, so, like, it makes sense for you to charge for it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fine if they charge for it. Like the stuff I was talking about in the battle pass. Like, let me buy a pack of steel and buy the new cosmetics that you added, as opposed to having it be like, once it's gone from the battle pass, it's gone.
Right, I see what you're saying now. Okay, yeah. No, the fact that you have, like, it's like, it's available for 3 weeks and then it's gone. Yeah, it sucks, and I don't really know. I'd be curious to see the numbers on a game that does, like, you know, like Overwatch versus For Honor, where with Overwatch the item stays around, versus Overwatch where the For Honor where the game item disappears. I'd be curious, like, what difference that makes as far as, like, the player base is concerned, or the people that actually engage with your microtransaction economy, or because I only know our opinion. I don't really know.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's all. I was just curious, like, I'm chatting with you guys, right? This is about our opinions.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, what the perspective is from the the developer too, and, like, if it actually works. Like, it sucks because I feel like a lot of these models work really good on children, which is like the fucking big shame, right? Like, the biggest culprit of that is Fortnite, and, like, obviously Fortnite's a free-to-play game and they release content all the time, but, like, they release licensed content in that game all the time, and I don't think it's still available. Like, I don't think you can go back and get, like, the Marvel stuff and things like that in Fortnite.
Dude, I saw the best meme the other day, and it was someone going, you want to play Fortnite? And he's like, oh, I don't play Fortnite. It's like an Xbox message.
No, then he goes, it's like, you know, because he has the Mandalorian profile pic.
Yeah, that's the
like,
that's the joke.
You want to play Fortnite? He's like, I don't play Fortnite. And what was the other text that he said?
It was the guy.
So everybody knows it.
Yeah, the guy.
I don't, and I'm completely lost. I know.
The guy has a Mandalorian in his profile picture, so someone messaged him going, "Hey, you play Fortnite?" And he goes, "No, I don't play Fortnite." And then it goes like, "Oh, but you have the Mandalorian in your profile picture." And he's like, "Oh, well, I watched the show." And then the other guy goes, "Oh, you watch Star Wars? Lol, lame."
Oh,
That's the joke. But Jack just stole it out of Sean's.
I'm like, completely stole it from Sean.
And then Brandon started doing it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, Sean's trying to tell a joke. Jack steals it, forgets the joke halfway through, asks how it ends, and then Brandon picks up the slack and finishes it. And Sean's left sitting there like John Travolta, like.
Let's try to just pick up the confusion.
So, and then it ends.
Sean, that was a funny joke. That was good, Sean. That was great. That was awesome.
Oh man.
Don't worry, guys. because I flounder doesn't mean I don't know where I'm going. I know where the joke is.
I don't think you floundered. I think you got robbed.
No, yeah, I don't think you got flattered either.
Little bit of both. Poor Sean, says Andrew.
But yeah,
No,
like
that-
the amount of stories
yes.
you hear all the time about like kids just like fucking like spending
V-Bucks.
so much money on V-Bucks or like whatever game it is they're into, fucking Clash of Titans or what the fuck is that? No, what the fuck?
Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans. I was thinking of the movie.
The only person I know who
Clash
spent
of
any
Clans.
significant amount of money on that was like an old classmate of Kelly and I's. Aaron Post apparently got really into Clash of Clans, according to Benny.
Oh wow.
Because they were like, Benny caught him on the SkyTrain once, and they were like chatting about it, and he's like spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this game, but apparently that was the thing that he did that people did at their workplace, is they
Oh.
just spent money on this
Playing
game.
Clash of Clans.
Yeah,
Or
and it was just-
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid shit, Raid Shadow Legends.
Amount of ads.
Every single review of that game has just been, it's boring, it's awful, it's so grindy, and it's fucking shitty.
I've heard the same about most mobile games though.
How
All
fucking
right, Ray.
dare
When
you?
are we getting that sponsorship?
Yeah, thanks, Raid. Can we
God,
get that
you-
sponsorship?
I'll
That'd be
sell
great.
out so hard. I'm so sorry, everyone. I will
I will
plug
not.
the shit out of Raid Shadow Legends for
Oh my
money.
God.
I will. I don't care.
No.
Dude, no. Give me money. I'll be sincere. Raid Shadow Legends.
Has
one of the
great
best-
graphics.
Great, amazing graphics for your mobile game. You're not going to
Then you
believe
show a
it.
clip of
Has
you
them over
before.
10,000 champions for you to grind on. Endless hours of content and play. It's probably
I
next
like
gen
the idea.
gameplay.
I like the idea of just doing that, like just like basically reading out what the game is, but being really stoked about it. Like, this is a mobile game that has a fantasy RPG aesthetic, and it has a whole bunch of and not saying anything actually good about it, just simply stating facts.
Describing it, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what they do, as far as I am to understand.
Yeah.
for the most part, yeah.
There are some ad reads where you're like, okay, this person I think actually legitimately plays this game or whatever, but most of the time you're like, yeah, you're just
You know
describing
what I
the
love? You know what I
product.
love? This is completely a tangent, but you know what I love is those like ads for mobile games that play before YouTube videos, and it's just like their little like a green screen face cam down in the corner, and they're like describing what they're doing, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, oh they got me. Now if I move in my archers here, I can take out their whole field of enemies. And it's like, wow, this is such bullshit. amazing. It's really, and then you see like another one, and it's the exact same script with different people, and you're like, oh, that seems genuine.
It is genuine, and I would do it for money. Kelly, if that's all I did for the rest of my life, I'd still do it.
Of course you would.
Corporate shill?
Chad says we'll simp for sponsorship.
I believe
Sad,
that.
Sean. That makes me very sad.
Hey, I don't have the cause to be picky.
To
just-
get back to our original conversation, I think it's just one of those things where like it just all comes down to fucking capitalism, dude. And like and how much it's just like rampant in the game industry as far as like those kind of like live service or like microtransaction style games exist. And it just sucks because it's like no matter, regardless of whether a game, I don't know, like deserves it or not, it's just everywhere. It's like every game you buy, it's like, okay, well you missed out. You missed it. I'm sorry. It's over. It's gone. And like, but if you want it, it costs or something, right? Like it's just so rampant, and it just sucks. Like I just wish people were okay letting art die sometimes. Like it's just like you don't have to make your, like obviously they're all working as businesses, and I understand, but fuck businesses. Right? Like just make the good thing, make money making the good thing, and then let it die. And then if it's still popular on its own volition, like several years after that, then make new content or like make a follow-up game. But like, don't, like, I just hate that it's all based around like, okay, yeah, so if we sell this game and it's this popular and this many people play it, we can then create a microtransaction system that will develop and give us this much money per quarter and like yada yada, and they're like rely on that money to then continue making money. It just sucks. It just sucks. And every
sucks,
fucking
man.
company does it. Every fucking company does it. Right? Like it's like there are very few games I can think of that they haven't done that. Like Ghost of Tsushima is like the first one, like the only one I can think
Well, like,
of.
Obviously, for the most part, like single player games, for the most part, don't do that. Story driven single player
Even
games.
that, man, like right, like Red Dead Redemption. Ugh.
Yeah,
That one's
fair.
yep. Right.
I mean,
like,
but to be fair, we knew online was coming in Red Dead before Red Dead even got announced.
Yeah, adding an online is like a different thing. Like then it's like the online ecosystem versus the single player.
this is
version of
true.
it.
I think maybe my bigger problem that is that Red Dead Redemption keeps getting pulled into like the hey, single player games aren't dead yet, and for some reason they keep putting that game in the single player category. And like it is a single player game, but there are other problems that have to do with it that have to do with the multiplayer. Anyways, that's just my gripe with that.
No, that's fair.
Josh is saying Hollow Knight was really good for that, and I actually do remember hearing about this because I think Hollow Knight was trying to make Hollow Knight 2, and then they got like halfway through the development of it, and they're like, "We'll just release it as DLC."
Other way around, actually.
Oh, was it DLC? And they're like, "Oh, it's
yeah.
so big, we're
The
gonna make
sequel.
it
The sequel
Hollow Knight."
hasn't come out yet. It's called Hollow Knight Silk Song,
Right,
and
okay.
it's
That's
going to be
cool.
a full sequel. And there is DLC in Hollow Knight as well. And I think this was just like more DLC that got like so big that they decided it had to be a new game.
I think I remember there being like free hidden secrets that they just put in the game or something. I don't remember.
Well, they also added when they added DLC. Like it's obviously we're playing it after all this has happened, but I've been like looking at some stuff because I'm like trying to figure out like how this DLC, like how do I activate it? Because it's like very Dark Soulsy. You have to like go to the specific spot to like trigger the thing. But there were people who were mentioning like, oh yeah, when they dropped this DLC, they also added these like little things as well. So I don't know how many of those were like part of the DLC and how many were just like little updates to the game.
Right.
But like there's always people doing it. But you said earlier, Brandon, that their game they need people to keep playing their game. And I think that's the thing that it's that whole mentality that I also find very strange because like they don't though. Like that you can stop. That you don't have to keep playing it. And it's because on the corporate level, like you said, they can keep making more money for like comparatively minimal effort. I'm not saying it doesn't take effort to like make skins or emotes or whatever, but like when you compare that to building all of like the infrastructure and mechanics of an actual game versus their ability to kind of keep people invested through microtransactions.
Almost at default at this point, right? It's like we just do the default regular shit we do to keep a game updated, and they just continue making money off of it.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's exactly what you were saying. It's the difference between wanting to like make a good game that is like Sean and I talk about this a lot, like intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Yeah,
like making a game that you want to play because like it's fun to play, and once you're like I've had my fun. Like I really enjoyed playing that game while I was playing it. Now I'm done with it. Like that's cool. Versus the game where it's like, I don't know, like I've found myself not even having fun in a game, but I'm like, I need to keep playing it because I need to get the thing. I need to like finish the pass. I need to grind the thing. And I was enjoying the game. That's why I started playing it. But I want to put it down now, but I feel like emotionally trapped. Because if I don't get the thing now, I can't get the thing.
Y'all know I'm the biggest fucking advocate for that because I don't finish games at all. Like I play them, and the minute I get bored, I'm like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm not having fun. Why am I going to keep playing
and you should be able to do that.
Yeah. But sometimes I don't with these like live service games. I'm like, well, I have to be ready for when the next content comes out next week. And it's just kind of silly, right? Like
we haven't bought loot boxes in Overwatch in a very long time.
Yeah, like we bought some near the beginning, like in the first year or two. We bought.
Of course,
some,
we haven't.
Fuck off, Sean.
Swear to God, Sean.
Glad Benny's not here.
So like, yeah. So us like being in the ecosystem doesn't really like boost their sales in any way, but like their sales were that we bought the game. Like the whole mentality has switched. Like there's no other industry where like just selling the product like isn't enough. Right? Like video games have become like this vessel for monetization in a lot of cases, as opposed to just like a video game that you play because it is fun video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it bums me out, man, because then even games that I like end up feeling worse.
Yeah.
Because there's all this bullshit attached to it.
It's like a concert or something that they just keep. It's like everyone's there for the concert, like, man, this is great, and they just like they keep the music going, and then they're like, come on, no, there's another encore, let's go. And you're like, I'm exhausted, oh my god, but I can't leave this because I really want to see this person live, let's go.
They keep you trapped with
there
the
for
encore.
5 days.
Yeah, the encore's just, they're like, if you pay us another $100, we'll do another encore. And you're like, yeah, and people throw fucking money up, and then people are like, come on.
I love you, Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
It's just a big country stadium star. That's all.
A weird
Red
pull,
cup,
right?
brown beer, blue jeans, and a hurt now. I fucking love making fun of
When's your album dropping, dude?
now, right now.
Oh,
I think so.
That 4 line.
Something I was gonna point out is that like in the I'm just thinking about other. I mean, it's always good to compare it to like other forms of art, but like in the movie industry, it's like a movie comes out and the movie is huge, and obviously there's like merchandising and other marketing and stuff that goes on around that. Like the toys sell, like everyone makes fun of Star Wars because Star Wars is just like a toy advertisement half the time, and it really is. I mean, that's where they made their money post the original trilogy is just in toys, but like. Absolutely. Movies also kind of have that like very immediate like, oh damn, this movie's popular, everyone go see it. But movies eventually die because you can't like obviously you can do sequels, but it takes effort to create a sequel to a movie, right? So movies eventually then
Sequels
just kind
are
of
just
like
DLC.
Sequels is DLC, right? Like the movie eventually
the Marvelverse
dies.
is just a free to play
Exactly.
thing.
There you go.
Every every hour.
And
and a half,
video
DLC.
games also have sequels, right?
No, but it's different. Those are sequels.
Those are
if
movie sequels are just DLC.
If a movie is truly popular, people will talk about it and continue to talk about it, and people will continue to purchase it digitally in whatever form it is to absorb movies at that time, right? And so that one, it's hard to compare. And then like books I was going to bring up because like books, it can take like decades before a book even gets popular. Like books are so weird, right? Like someone, like for instance, I was just looking up, like The Name of the Wind came out 13 years ago, and it's probably been it's probably at its peak, if not it just passed its peak of like its highest like level of popularity. It'll probably peak again when they start to produce a show and all that kind of shit too.
Or when the third book ever comes out.
Or the third book ever comes out.
Be nice to Pat. I'm sure he's working.
But it's just so strange, right? It's like if something is good, it will eventually grow or it will get popular because it is good, but they just don't want to they just don't let that happen in the video game industry. It's like, no, it's good, I'm telling you it's good, I promise it's good, like there's more stuff coming and like we need Amazon Prime yesterday, shove it in my fucking mouth.
It feels like there's like a video game executive like behind you with a baseball bat, like, yeah, are you having fun?
Are you winning, son?
Just fucking ready at all times.
Just fucking ready to go.
Did you try the new character?
You fucking buy that season pass.
No. Did you tell your friends to play? Because if you invite them, you get a free fucking character skin.
One fucking free copy.
And the thing is, like, if a game is good, I will try to get you guys to play it just because it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think that actually happens.
Sean, it's not even good, and I tried to get you guys to play Avengers.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm just so busy.
Also,
yeah.
I totally forgot this, but I was talking to somebody on Reddit, so shout out to random Reddit user whose name I don't remember, obviously.
Great shout out.
Great shout out. You're like, yeah, I'll totally name drop you in my podcast.
I did not tell them I was going to do that.
They're watching. They're like,
it's coming. It's coming. Why are you? Get out of here.
Why are
Anyway,
any of us in here?
no, my phone told me that I was supposed to start recording at 12:30, and I was like, that's not right. But no, I was having a conversation with somebody about how, it's the clash in Avengers between the single player and the multiplayer, where like the story wants to be like the single player, like single character driven story, but they sold the game as like team up with your friends and be all the Avengers and go do fun stuff. And so like
sure did.
the story should have started like the first level you should have been playing as Captain America, Iron Man, like Thor and Hulk. Like in the first mission. Like Marvel Ultimate Alliance style, like here's your 4 characters for that kind of game. And I was talking about it, I had friends who bounced off it because they like were interested in kind of casually playing as like, oh yeah, let's just jump in as the Avengers and beat people up. But you have to go through all the story bullshit first to get there before you even unlock most of the Avengers. And the person was like, you don't have to do that. You can like go to the Avengers initiative from the beginning and just start playing the game, like the co-op. And I was like, you are right. I'm a fucking idiot because you can do that.
Yeah.
You don't even have to play the story. But then I kind of went on. I was like, that's kind of a different problem, though, because they're trying to build up this whole thing of like, oh, what happened? Captain America's dead. What's going on in the story? We don't know. It's crazy. But you can just like immediately start playing like post campaign and like the story. They're basically telling you like the story doesn't matter.
Yep. That's
You
the
don't
impression
unlock
I
the
got.
characters though, right? You still only have
No, you do.
access to.
I'm pretty
Really?
sure
You get?
unlock-
I think if you
think
play
do.
the initiative, you have everybody, but I could be wrong. I
don't think you do
Really?
because like even when I did play a multiplayer mission, it only gave me the options of like of
Well,
Kamala.
there are
Hulk.
multiplayer missions in the campaign that you can play where you just have the characters you've unlocked.
Right.
I don't know because I didn't do the initiative because the thing is the initiative tells you it's like this has
Oh, yeah.
spoilers for the campaign.
Spoiler warning, stuff like that. Yeah.
So obviously I didn't do
Mm.
that. So for me that was just like not even an option. I didn't even think about it. But you can do that. That's an option that you have.
But also, there's also multiplayer content that doesn't unlock until you unlock the characters in the game, though, right? Because then you unlock like Cap and Thor's
Iconic missions.
Iconic missions.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly
Yeah,
how it all works. But
weird.
the point is
Okay.
like you can play some co-op. before
It's
you do
poorly designed.
multiplayer. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a
Yeah,
mess.
there you
it's
go.
a mess.
Yeah.
Spaghetti code
But
in a video game.
it's not even spaghetti
Live
code. It's
service?
spaghetti decisions. Like it's
Also that.
it's spaghetti. It's
The
spaghetti.
game's got
all the way
spaghetti.
down.
The game's got spaghetti.
Spaghetti all the
It's
way
just
down. man.
spaghetti,
Dude,
but no
it's spaghetti-
meatballs.
Toe to tip, it's spaghetti.
It literally feels like in basically every possible
Oh.
way there are two different games that are trying to interact together in like story mechanics, progression, combat design. Like there's in every single aspect of that game there's two different
Enemy
parts
It's
of it.
design.
it's almost like that's a problem in the
mechanics.
gaming industry, and we keep talking about games that try to do too much stuff.
Mm.
Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption.
How dare you? How dare you?
Just
Just
saying.
do something well instead of doing like 100 things mediocrely.
Like you gotta cut it somewhere. Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
do a million things, do Dwarf Fortress and make your graphics look like the T in the text document, and the I and an 8, and somehow people can read that runic symbolism.
Hey, man,
Like have you seen
enough?
Dwarf Fortress? It looks
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't like. I look at it and I go,
I feel like I'm looking at the Matrix.
what the fuck am I looking at? Yeah, exactly.
Like that scene when Cypher's like, I don't know, blonde, brunette, redhead. It's all just lines of code. Like that's how I feel like looking at Dwarf Fortress.
Yep, that's
Um,
how I feel.
What
too.
the
One
fuck
thing-
is this?
Oh, I actually don't know.
Dwarf Fortress?
I haven't checked it
Yeah,
out.
what the fuck?
Dude, Dwarf Fortress is the only game where your people can die of depression and also be eaten by cave spiders, which directly corresponds to how many spiders there will be because you fed them.
What?
Yeah, it's fucked up. Like the
No
amount
thanks.
of detail, like that, the game remembers everything, and everything is connected to everything else.
Fuck that.
You're a little,
This is wild.
yeah, you're a little colony of dwarves, and you like find a new mountain home, and you have to try and survive as your like little people of dwarves. You have to like get them professions. You have to like do adventuring. You can equip each individual dwarf in your colony with weapons and armor. It's insane.
That's fucked.
And they're trying to make a version with graphics, and I'm very interested when it comes to Steam because I cannot read the Matrix.
Sean needs another game to put hundreds and hundreds of hours
Hundreds
into.
and hundreds of
Dude,
hours.
so far
I
have
do.
3, and that's enough.
You say that, but you'll add another one.
No, I have
I
3.
do have something small just because it was like we were talking about the spaghettification of Avengers. So, Avengers, assemble.
Ensemble.
I booted up the game today because I was like, oh yeah, Kate Bishop dropped, and I just got the notification that the patch is installed. Whatever, I'll fire that up and totally be on time for the podcast and not late at all.
Sweet.
And then
Good on you.
And then
Don't know what that's like.
I opened it up, and it's basically like every time there's like a new sort of like chunk of content, they're called like operations. So you can open up like the campaign operation, and that has like missions that are specific to the campaign. They just added, and then there's an Avengers Initiative, which is kind of like the general like random mission co-op stuff. And then they just added the first new operation, which is taking aim, which is the introduction of Kate Bishop, which I think also, just by the way, really good pun title. It's great
That's pretty good.
because
Not
you're
gonna
still
lie.
fighting
Pretty good.
aim, and she's got a bow. It's good.
I think Taking
also
Aim
got-
was a comic.
I also got, it probably is. I also got really excited that she's like on the splash screen on the front of the game now. Like when you boot it up, Kate's standing there.
I
and I'm
saw
just
that,
like,
which is cool.
I'm just so excited to see all the characters get added. Like that'll always be exciting.
Yeah,
Getting-
like if they do a lot of characters like Marvel Ultimate Alliance style, just like see them
Yeah,
all
slowly
fucking
filling it
yeah.
And now in like the loading screens, the like really boring one that's just like a gray background with like the characters doing a pose. Kate Bishop's on there now too. So like it's like goes through all the characters and Kate's in there and she like pulls out an arrow and like does the slow-mo thing, which is
Very
fun.
cool.
But when I loaded up taking aim,
The comic.
it said I was already like 19% finished.
Oh, yay! I love being 20% done the new content that just came out.
And like I think the way that it works is there are some like side mission, like random missions that are like considered part of like all of the content.
Oh.
Right.
But like you can access them from the war. Basically, the war table changes color when you're in a different operation to signify that like you're following like a different mission chain on like a different chunk of story content. But there
Okay.
are still like you can still access different. You can still access some like the side missions and like the random drop zones and stuff from all of the war tables from all the different operations.
Right.
So I think what it is like, oh, I've completed those missions that are on this war table, even though they're not part of this operation. But so I immediately booted up and I said I was 19% done. And then like when I started the first mission, it was like 30% completed. And I was like, I haven't done anything. I'm literally, I booted up and then I clicked the button to start the mission. And on the top left, it says, yeah, you're like 30% done. Good job, man. And I'm like, what metric are you using to determine my percentage completion? Because I'm very confused.
What metric are you
What
using to
metric
determine
are you using?
what my completion?
Metric.
So I.
It's fucking weird.
Weird.
That is
I don't-
very weird.
Me?
What can we? Will we see an end to the FOMO model?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
It's
think-
here to stay.
No.
I think all we can count on is the developers who don't want to do it and the publishers who will let them not do it. Like Sony and like all of their first party stuff, God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost, Bloodborne,
Last of Us.
all of that content, like they're going to keep and they've seen so much success. That's the thing is like Sony, you know, won the previous generation of like the console wars and they did it on the back of a whole bunch of like really solid like single player like games that were mechanically engaging that were just, this is the game, we sold the game, have the game. And like the entire internet is going to lose its fucking mind when we first see the first trailer or screenshot of God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, and then we're gonna
Right?
put in a fucking season pass model and a battle royale version and a MOBA, all in the
Dude.
same thing.
There's way too much heart in God of War for that to happen. Like Cory Barlog started crying when he saw how good the reviews were. He's
Yeah.
not letting anybody put microtransactions or battle passes in that game. It's not going
Unless
to
we stop him now.
Kratos is in Fortnite though.
Kratos isn't Fortnite. Yes.
Who isn't in Fortnite?
Who isn't
Fortnite
in- who
is
isn't in
the
Fortnite?
town bicycle.
Oh no. I just realized we're going to get a
Spider-Man.
Fortnite character in Smash, aren't we?
No, you can't have the default skin in Smash.
They're going to do it, aren't they, Sean?
No, they're gonna put John Wick in Fortnite.
John Wick's
That'd
already
be-
in Fortnite.
I mean, in Smash though. Fortnite John Wick. That's its name. His Smash name is
Fortnite
Fortnite John
John
Wick.
Wick.
is here.
Fortnite John Wick.
Fortnite Wick drops.
A super small, not really a super small side note, but a side note. Jack texted me the other day, and he was like, "Yo,
Is he allowed to
fucking
do that?
Mandalorian." No, he's not
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
I keep
I
telling
hate
him to
it.
stop. He texted me. And he's like, "Mandalorian is in Fortnite. I fucking hate it." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you know." He's like, "I just hate that like everything is just becoming a Fortnite character." And I was like, as much like it is kind of weird and it kind of sucks because it's like they just kind of like the whole trying to get every fucking cent out of your IP and like putting it in everything, all that kind of stuff feels shitty. But at the same time, like Mandalorian's a dope character and a dope show, and like why not let kids play as the Mandalorian, right? Like I'd rather them play as the Mandalorian as some fucking like I don't know, like they play as
You
like
get the
fucking
memes like that guy.
like instead of playing of like Marshmallow or like Dead Mouse or something, like I don't know, right? Like I'd rather them play as like a cool fucking like action character than like a celebrity, right? Like it, like I don't know, right? Like yeah, it's weird to put other characters and IPs in Fortnite, but if you're going to put an IP in Fortnite,
Make it John Wick.
make it John Wick.
Make it Batman.
Put
Like
actual
make it
Keanu
all the
Reeves in
Marvel heroes and all the Star Wars characters.
Apparently, Galactus attacked, and again,
Yeah,
it's like if
they
you
were
weren't
like,
there,
Galactus
that's
event.
it. Galactus is gone now.
there. Oh,
Bottom.
Hey, remember Thanos? That was a fun Fortnite event.
Yeah.
It was very fun, but again, it's gone.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I didn't need it to stay. I just liked being Thanos for a day and be
Dude.
like
Yeah.
Laserbeam.
I can't remember his name, but that fucking guy who did a concert in Fortnite, he got like $25 million for a one-night concert in Fortnite.
Oh
Yeah,
dude.
there's been a few
There's
concerts
been
in
a few.
Fortnite.
The first one was
No, like the most recent one.
most recent one.
Yeah. like, happened
Anderson
not that long ago.
Paak. Anderson Paak, I think. I love it.
No.
Dude, I'd do a concert in Fortnite for $25 million. Are you kidding me?
Like, what even is Fortnite though?
It is a social media hub.
The first one I had that happened was
It's
Travis
quickly becoming
Scott.
social media, interactive social media. It is the first step to the Ready Player Ones.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, Travis
VR
Scott.
Fortnite's gonna be a thing.
Travis Scott was the one in April. Marshmello did one last year.
You're
Okay, Travis Scott was the name that I heard talking about, so maybe they were just talking about that one. Maybe it
Yes,
wasn't.
that was the one that was the first time I heard about them doing the concerts in Fortnite.
Yeah.
And I watched footage of it and I was like, this is kind of fucking cool. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's a
Actually,
virtual concert. Yeah, like the concept of it is fucking crazy to me. Like, I actually think it's really cool being someone who just like is obviously in the music industry. I thought it was really cool. But yeah, it's fucked how many people watched it and how much fucking money he made. Like, it's fucked. It's so weird.
I don't like it.
Crazy.
I don't like it.
I don't like it, man.
Well, I still paid $80 for that game, and the game isn't even what people pay money for.
You
now.
paid $80 for it?
Well, that's how much it was when it came out, wasn't it?
No, we paid like $50 or something for it because there was
Whatever.
a version that was like.
I paid the amount of money that it was when I bought it.
Yeah, I thought Save the World looked fun. The original version of what Fortnite was.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it was fun.
it was fun for a day, and then I realized we all wasted our money, and then they had Battle Royale in it, and I was like, why is it better now?
Yeah.
Why is it just a better game now? Hey, you didn't tell me you could just make a better game for free. Why didn't you
Right.
do that the first time?
Right. Oh well.
Why'd you
Oh,
make
well.
me? Why'd you grift me
What like is there anything
into supporting your free game?
How dare you? How fucking dare you?
I like how I'm pointing at Kelly in my screen.
How dare you? What about it bugs you, Kelly? Just the amount of money he made?
The amount of money, I don't know, just the whole concept. Like, I feel like Fortnite, the thing that bugs me is looking at it. I think it's looking at it as a video game. Like, I don't see a lot of like actual, like, as somebody who's really interested in video games and in like game design, it goes into, you know, adding other characters, like having like Kratos and fucking Batman and shit in Fortnite and whatever. It's like they might have an event briefly where they do something like kind of cool, but it's still just a game about like shooting guns and building walls. Like, the game is making itself bigger and more important than it deserves to be through having all of this other stuff. And like, it's not really a game anymore. And like, think that's what bugs me. It's like this weird Second Life.
Yeah, it's getting close to like a Second Life simulator where you pay a lot of money for your skin.
Yeah, like it's not Second Life in the sense that you like role play having like a Second Life in this game, but it's like people spend a lot of time in it and just hang
like
out
to do
and do
things that
different
aren't
things.
really a part of the game. You know, it just feels like Epic has been like, we found a way to make a whole bunch of money. And it's like, it kind of ties into my problems with a lot of other other stuff we've been talking about with like monetization models and battle passes. And like, Fortnite basically exists on the model of, you have to be playing it all the time to get all the stuff and see all the events and see all the content and like be in Fortnite always, not because it's fun, but because there's new things and you need to be a part of it because it's gone. And like, it doesn't feel like a game that exists on its own merits. And the fact, like, there have been reports about how people are like crunching constantly at Epic, like in a constant state of crunch because they always need to have something new. Because Fortnite always needs to be relevant, and it's not a game that's relevant because it's a good game. It's a game that's relevant because people who have the money are making them just add random bullshit all the time, and they've just made this like artificially important pop culture phenomenon that doesn't have any substance to it.
Well, all phenomenon in pop culture is almost artificial. Like, it is like marketed.
Yeah,
And
like there's
I'd
a
say
certain level of
Fortnite's-
popularity gets at the beginning, but then beyond that, it has to do with marketing and growth and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd say Fortnite just has exceptional marketing teams. Like they know exactly how to market the game.
But the thing is, the game is the marketing. Like that's the thing to me. Like there's nothing. That's why it bugs me. Like there's a game in there that people find fun, and I totally respect that. But the reason that it's so popular is because of the marketing. Like Kratos is in the game now because Kratos is popular. John Wick is in the game because John Wick's popular. Like there's no actual like concession of if that fits the game or if like they can do something cool with that, or if like, you know what I mean? Like there's just so much.
Like well, I'd argue that's just pop culture. Like regardless of it being a video game, that's just the problem with pop culture to begin with. It's just that like it's very empty substance. It's just like, hey, look at this thing, you love it, so we have it too. Like, haha, look at this, right? But to argue that from more the like regardless of like what their fucking like work ethic is like an epic, like I'm sure there are problems there as there are at multiple video game companies. Like if I was Travis Scott and I was like, okay, so we're in a quarantine and I need to find a creative way to still perform for people, and possibly even access myself to the age group that listens to my music, which is youth, teenagers, kids, young adults, whatever it is, right? And so they go, what is a good way I could do that in like a virtual space? And they go, hey, Fortnite's really popular. And so they go, hey, Fortnite, we have a really interesting idea. We're going to try and hold a concert inside your game. I don't think there's too many game companies that would then say no to that, because that is a really, really interesting idea. From someone from the music perspective, I thought like literally I downloaded Fortnite back in, what are we in? I think in September or something, because Anderson .Paak was going to do a concert. I missed it because I just totally fucking forgot about it. But literally I saw that Anderson .Paak was going to do a concert in Fortnite. I didn't give a shit that it was in Fortnite. I just cared because I really like Anderson .Paak, and so I wanted to see his concert, because concerts don't exist right now. They exist virtually or on Zoom or in video games now, right? So I was like, hell yeah, and Julie and I wanted to watch it. We missed it. But so I understand what you, I think I 100% get what you're saying, Kelly, but I think there's a level of like video games can be so many things, right? Like they can, like some of them are just straight up stories, some of them are like therapy, some of them are tools, some of them, right? Like they can be so many things beyond just being a game. And maybe there's a problem there that like, you know, maybe the transforming of it is like a bit of an issue or whatever, or the marketing of it is a bit of an issue. But I think it's really cool to see, you know, something that's showing quote unquote growth in the video game world because of its popularity. Like right, like the only reason that a virtual video game concert even happened was because of how popular Fortnite was. Right. And like, regardless, you know, whether that's because the game is popular or because it's just marketed really well and because they fucking put Star Wars characters in it or whatever, Fortnite was popular. And then that's when they went, oh, hey, let's have a fucking virtual concert. So I agree with you as far as yeah, I think as just like pop culture in general, I think that is just like an issue because you get a lot of these just like empty things that are just popular just because they're popular. But at the same time, the popularity opens up a lot of very cool avenues and windows to do really cool things. And I'd argue that these specifically more EDM and hip hop artists have been taking advantage of this and doing like a really cool thing, which is having a concert inside a fucking video game, which I think is fucking rad. I think that's so cool. And the one other thing I was going to say is like, and to comment on like a FOMO perspective, that's more of like a social thing than it is like a thing in the game you're missing, which like isn't as big of a problem for me. Like when it's content that you miss out on, like you miss on a skin or a character or like something that like you then see other people have continuously past that event, that's a problem. And I could be wrong. Maybe if you went to that concert, you get like a fucking like skin that says like I went to the concert or something like that, and like that sucks. Like that's a piece of like FOMO that like kind of sucks within a video game. But you're always gonna miss it on social things, right? Like even in MMO and stuff like that, like weird social events happen where like they just happen because of the player base, and like that just kind of happens, and you'll miss out regardless of it being a planned thing by the developer or not, right? Like for instance, like Eve had that giant fucking like economy crash and like have huge battles, and like you're like, oh, but I played Eve like 4 years ago, but I don't play anymore, but I missed out on that. And it's like, well, that's just a social thing that happened in the game, just with the in-game mechanics. Like it wasn't like and you missed out. That's just you miss out hanging out with friends and going to parties. Like that's just a social thing you miss out on, if that makes any more sense or a difference. So that's what I feel about the concerts, is that like as much as they are in a video game and they are a single event that if you're not there you miss it, it's more of a social thing than it is like a I missed this part of the game, because it's not like they play the game while they're watching that. Like literally, they just get put into like a room essentially, and you just like run around and jump and shit and watch the concert, and like that's there's no like interactivity as far as that's concerned, anyways. Yeah. But anyways, that was my 2 cents.
Well, it's interesting, Brennan, because you said like, off the beginning, you were like I didn't care about it being in Fortnite, but I installed it to do the thing, and like that's kind of like almost what I'm getting at. Like Fortnite has
like it's not a game anymore.
Beyond itself, like you didn't care about Fortnite. Like if there was a platform to just watch a concert, you would have done that. But like Fortnite kind of like has its tendrils in all these things that it didn't. Like for example, I like briefly considered installing Fortnite because there was this big Marvel event and like the characters had powers for a little while, and like Galactus was going to be attacking, and I was like, no, like I don't enjoy this game, and they're just trying to get me in by like again like going into all these different areas of like nostalgia or pop culture or whatever that they didn't invent, that has nothing to do with like their ability to like make a game. It's just like, oh, this other thing is popular, so if we use it we can kind of be popular by proxy. And I have no problem with the concept of like a digital concert like at all. I think that's really cool. Like I agree with you, but like that sentiment of like I installed Fortnite even though I don't care about Fortnite because of this other thing that basically has nothing to do with the people who make Fortnite. That is weird to me.
And that was the thing that bugged me about it, because and that's why I texted you about it. Like, why is like the Mandalorian part of it? And it bugs me so much that he's a part of Fortnite because he is popular. And then the game just basically, hey, let me just rip this from you and just put it into our game, and I'll make money off of it.
Okay, I have a different take. Fortnite is popular on its own merits, regardless of its extraneous, like, other shit.
Marketing,
and
whatever, yeah.
The reason it's so popular is not because of its marketing, really. It's because its mechanics are actually really in-depth, really tight, and the skill ceiling is extremely high for this game. And I know that because my brothers played the fuck out of it, and Zach got extremely good. The thing is that is what made the game popular. All this other stuff is just the same sort of cosmetic bullshit we see in every other game, except Fortnite doesn't give a fuck about its identity. That's the real problem I think you're having, Kelly. Yes. Is that you're conflicted because Fortnite doesn't really have an identity.
Yes.
And it will steal whatever identity or wear any identity because it doesn't really matter to Fortnite. Mm-hmm. And Fortnite doesn't care. Fortnite just wants
the game
money.
The game has like good mechanics and stuff like that.
I mean,
the problem is it just.
I can't go so far as to say it's a bad game because it's not a bad game.
If I gave that impression, I didn't want to. Like,
yeah,
I understand that Fortnite, when it was originally launched, became popular because of its mechanics. Like, there was no.
Yeah.
They became popular way before they started doing all this stuff. Like, there's a core to Fortnite that is good and that people enjoy. And I'm not trying to say that like objectively it's a bad game or anything, because I don't think that's true. Like I don't personally enjoy it that much, but there's lots of like good games that I don't enjoy. Like I'm not saying it's a bad game by any means.
But yeah, even the battle royale format Josh is saying was stolen, which is a good point. Like Fortnite has co-opted almost everything. And if that bugs you, is it just being like a sort of like
a mishmash of different
different sort of cultural things, then like I say that's like I get it, but Fortnite doing other things to like trying to get people to come in is no different than a sale going on to get you to go to a store you wouldn't normally go to buy things, right? Like them having the Marvel shit is just like, hey, come by, check out this fun
Marvel
minigame.
fans come out and hang out.
Maybe spend some money. If you don't like it, then you don't have to stay, because ultimately you're not going to keep playing Fortnite when it goes back to its sort of vanilla-based content anyway. So like, I actually think Fortnite doing concerts is one of the coolest things I've seen in video games in a while. And the reason for that is you actually have a new platform for artists to do stuff. And if you don't want video games to be a platform, I think we're past that point. I think it's too large of a virtual space where too many different people and you have too big of an avenue that people are just going to be interested.
Yeah.
Like it's not only is it effective, but it's actually kind of neat culture because we're targeting a completely different demographic than us, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't watch the Fortnite concerts because I just don't really care. Like it's not how I want to experience concerts. But like kids who are 13, 12, and 11 who don't go to concerts but like listen to this music anyway, they go because that's fucking cool to them.
They
Not
already
only is
have
it a
Fortnite
pandemic,
installed, and then
yeah,
they were told that the
you
hip hop
know,
artist really like is having a concert. Yeah,
exactly. It's kind of for those people, and then for the other people who just play Fortnite, right? You get like a couple of weird demographics of these people who are interested. And like as an artist, let's say if I were making music and Fortnite approached me to put a concert in their game, I'd have a hard time saying no to $25 million to do so.
yeah.
Um, and then to say like, hey, your music's gonna reach a whole new type of people who maybe have never heard of you, who just know the video game. Like FOMO as a system for getting people to drive monetization is kind of shitty because that's how these free to play models stay open, right? They don't survive off like you and me and Brandon and Jack. They survive off people who are willing to drop hundreds of dollars to just make sure they get the shit.
And
And that's really all.
I think that bugs me because we were talking about other franchises or other like mediums or other industries, and like in my opinion, and obviously capitalism doesn't give a fuck and doesn't agree with me, but in my opinion, if you can't like sustain your business or your product like ethically and just by make good product, sell good product, profit, make next product, you can't do that, then like in my opinion you don't deserve to stick around if you can only make it by like basically preying off of people and needing like certain people to spend a bunch of money. And I know some people will do it willingly and some people have the money to spend, but a lot of people don't. Like you said, also a lot of younger people play these games who
absolutely
feel like the compulsive need. Like I know based on how I played video games when I was younger, these kind of monetization structures would have really affected me in I think a lot of very negative ways because I would have been very vulnerable to them when I was younger. And that stuff really, really bothers me. And I just want to agree with you, Sean, that you're correct, that I think it's the lack of Fortnite's identity that like I feel like I can be all hoity-toity about it, but it feels like they don't really have any like artistic integrity in terms of like the design of the thing they've built.
Yeah,
it's just the vessel for whatever
well
thing.
It's like any brand, right?
Yeah,
it's like any brand. Like you see Coca-Cola slapped on something, or Microsoft, or like Adidas, or like Nike. It's just like a brand now. And I think that is like, again, I think that's like a larger issue, like beyond it being a video game. Like it's just kind of like, yeah, they don't really give a fuck. They're just gonna fucking do whatever they can to like make more money. And that I agree with you,
advertise anywhere
for
any reason.
Yeah.
Like I think that lack of identity is what like irks you specifically, Kelly, about its like lack of artistic integrity, because you're an artist in many ways and you like to see video games as an art form. So when you see something that's so
lack thereof,
lacking such a sort of like significance in that artistic avenue
in an industry where a lot of games do have a very strong like artistic
absolutely
identity,
and then see its popularity and how it's just not going away, and it will just kind of co-opt other things that you like superheroes or whatever.
I'm also probably bitter because Fortnite was probably a better Avengers game than Avengers.
I mean,
brief time that it was.
Yeah, probably.
That just pisses me right off as well. But that's a separate issue.
That's a bigger issue.
So you just kind of have this sort of almost offensive game because it's offensive to you in a lot of these like minor ways that end up being a big problem. Also, you have like anti-capitalist sensibilities, so you have this game that's entirely capitalist, and I like acknowledge that.
When you put it that way, Fortnite is basically purpose built to piss me off.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm like, this is a reaction to Fortnite that I think has really not a lot to do with Fortnite, but a lot about what Fortnite does.
Well, it's funny because like they took the Marvel content, and so that's like a spot for you, right? You're like, okay, what the fuck, Fortnite? Like you're using Marvel, and then they took Star Wars, is a very big thing for me. But Star Wars has been in that light literally for its entirety, right? It's always been a fucking marketing tool for as long as Star Wars has existed. So when that happened, I was like, yeah, of course, like whatever, like it happens all the time.
But dude,
I'm not
remember
surprised.
when there was fucking like a plot drop, like the epilogue or the prologue to The Rise of Skywalker was in
Oh
Fortnite?
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like when they're all like, oh yeah, Palpatine sent out that message that he's back, and it was like, that probably should have been in the movie. That's kind of a big deal.
It should have been in something, maybe a trailer, not in Fortnite, but
Not in Fortnite.
whatever.
I mean, well, let's all remember Star Wars owns both those, so or Disney owns both those, so there you go.
True.
They
True,
they
true.
do
What,
whatever the
Marvel,
fuck they
Marvel
want.
and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Marvel,
they're like,
Star
yeah,
Wars,
of course,
and
we want to make
probably
more
Epic.
money. So
They're probably gonna buy Epic. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. They have like made surprisingly few forays into like owning game studios.
I mean,
Like
if
they've
they
had a
were-
couple here and
yeah.
there that haven't gone anywhere really. So
I mean,
if
that's
they
true.
can control the properties instead, that's what they care about, right? They'll let game companies make games, but if they control the properties, that's all
I'm
that matters.
a fucking idiot, by the way. I was thinking that it was really weird that like they went to Square Enix to make an Avengers game just because like they're not super known for like action heavy games.
You're just realizing
Fucking
now.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
The fucking sorry, I just realized that
Kingdom
they've
Hearts.
already worked with Square Enix because of Kingdom Hearts, and I'm a fucking moron. That's beside the point.
Kingdom Hearts,
That's
and
okay.
also the Final Fantasy games are also pretty action oriented, like the new ones anyway. 15.
The new
But
ones are,
specifically
but they're not
Disney.
like, but
Yeah.
specifically Disney. I mean, like
Yeah,
working with
True.
with that, like you'd think if they're making like some kind of co-op action game, they might like go after even somebody like Platinum or
Oh yeah.
something
Oh
else.
yeah, somebody who's got like a lot of experience.
like a lot of experience
Yeah,
with
yeah.
action games. And
No, no,
tech
no, no,
and
no, no,
stuff.
no,
So I was just
Dude,
saying it was a weird decision, but then I realized they
Nepotism.
have a relationship.
it's just nepotism.
Yeah.
They're like little brothers.
Another thing I was gonna mention because I think Kelly, you were like part of the issue was that like Fortnite has no identity and they'll just kind of like work with anybody or anything to kind of just like do more stuff, and I think it's kind of funny because I think I know you probably didn't mean this, but you were just mentioning that like you find it kind of like shallow when people will just kind of like they require to work with something or use someone else's like IP in order to like gain more momentum and more
Notoriety.
money or whatever. Yeah, notoriety. And I think it's kind of funny because like collaboration is like a huge thing in any industry. I'd argue any industry would not grow without collaboration, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just interesting because it's like if Fortnite collaborates with Kratos and with Santa Monica, you're like, oh, okay, like the video games, they work together, the video games, right? But it's like as soon as they kind of go outside of that, right? Like if I collaborated with like a musician at my music store and then I brought in like lessons and people and stuff. Sorry, my phone's going off.
Who's ringing? No, it's you.
Yeah. And that brought in more lessons and sales and stuff in my store because I collaborated with a musician, no one would bat an eye because it's like, oh yeah, like you're a musician, you're a music store, you're working with a musician, and they're using their notoriety to then grow as a business and create profit. But it's I feel like it's that much more kind of like irritating when like you go outside of that. Like it's like now we're bringing in TV shows and movies into our video game, now we're bringing in brand identities, now we're bringing in musicians, right? Like it's this whole kind of like where they will kind of grab anything. And I think you did say that, like you were specific as to like they'll just fucking work with anyone to just fucking get money, right? But I think it's worthy to note that like there are collaborations that are totally viable and like make sense, right? Like when Smash Bros brings a new character in the
Well, I was
franchise,
gonna say,
I'm
like, I
fucking
love
totally in.
Smash.
Yeah.
Like that's for sure. But they've also like Sakurai has gone out of his way to be like, it's video game characters,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Like he's like, I'm not introducing people from TV shows or cartoons or whatever. Like video game characters.
Smash also still somehow remains like complete in its identity
Mhm.
with like its focus on Nintendo characters specifically. Like I don't know how they balance it, but it's never made me bat an eye. Go, oh okay. Like I mean,
Well,
Solid
they
Snake
also-
always makes me bat an eye, but that's different.
Well, they also like aside from the specific characters chosen, which I think a lot of care goes into, they also go out of their way to make them feel like a Smash Bros character and also feel like themselves.
Yeah.
Right, like they really try, and it has nothing to do with popularity. Like they were like, oh, we're gonna introduce Terry from like this old ass SNK fighter series
You should do Minecraft
because Sakurai loves SNK games and like the video and like the lineage and how important SNK games are to the history of fighting games. And so, and like Minecraft, even like, we can roll our eyes, but it is huge.
I
and
love
it got
Minecraft,
that way. It got that way, and it's like a huge deal in video games. Like it's a big moment in video game history. It's often imitated.
And like to your point, like in Minecraft's defense, Minecraft didn't really then like brand deal with a lot of things. Like they did it for the sake of like merchandising stuff. Like you can get like clothes and toys and stuff, but like beyond that, there's not really any characters that like are in Minecraft and like vice versa that often. Like obviously, like having Minecraft Steve in Smash Bros is like an achievement. It's like your game is so fucking popular, we're putting your character in this all-star roster, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's really cool, right? And when you look at the numbers, I think the Smash Bros trailer pointed this out, but like Minecraft is like I think the best-selling game of like all time or something ridiculous, or like the most played game of all time. That's just how fucking popular it ever got. But it always stayed true to itself, and I think, and I'd say that's why it doesn't bother you, Kelly, is that it doesn't, right? When Fortnite is like, yeah, bring in all these fucking things, right? And I think that's a big difference. Well, Minecraft always has been like a building sim, right? The whole point is that it's a maybe
I don't enjoy it.
It's really fun, and you're wrong.
You're wrong.
It's objectively fun, you asshole.
It is objectively fun.
No, nothing is objectively fun.
Objectively, I find that wrong.
Yeah.
You can. Why do we hang out with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Chaos.
But yeah, it's just kind of one of those funny things where it's like, it's always, and this is somebody who took pride in identifying as a fucking hipster all through fucking high school and like my early adulthood, that like it's irritating when something like really grows and gets fucking popular in the thing that you really hold dear to your heart, right? Like when a musician that I listened to got really popular, or a show I was really into got really popular. It's kind of you almost can't help but like gatekeep like a little bit. Like you're like, but no, like you guys don't get it. Like what the fuck, right?
I liked them when they weren't cool.
I don't mind that. I just mind when the thing starts to change because it's popular. Like the fact that the MCU is like the biggest like film franchise of all time. I'm like, fuck yeah, more people know about Spider-Man and Iron Man and Captain America. That's fucking dope. But then when you go to the comics and suddenly Tony Stark like sounds like he's written like Robert Downey Jr. and like Star-Lord's entire backstory changed, so he was more like the Chris Pratt version.
And
like
Spider-Man's still a little bitch.
No, that's what I mean, right? Like you see what happens to that thing you love after it gets popular, and you're like, and you can't help but just go like, no, like that's not right, right? But a lot of the time, whoever had like artistic control over it before still has artistic control of it, and they're deciding to change it, like in reaction, I guess, to the popularity, but they still have control over it for the money. But the thing is like, yes, but also no, right? Like they're going like, okay, a lot more eyes are on my product or on my thing, so yes, I'm gonna be a little more conscious of that. But at the same time, like I'm still just creating the thing, right? Like in an alternate universe, yeah, maybe it might have been different because it wasn't as popular, or maybe there wouldn't be any more of that thing at all because it wasn't popular, right? So it's kind of like a weird blessing and a curse where you're like, popularity obviously helps keep things alive, but at the same time it also like mutates them and stuff as well.
Yes,
but
like Marvel was bankrupt in the 90s. They almost went out of business.
What?
So like if the price I have to pay for the fact that Marvel is like still even around is that sometimes the comics are a little bit worse because the movies are popular, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I'm okay.
But like,
I was really funny. I watched the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, which is fantastic. I watched it a little while ago, and like the Guardians of the Galaxy show up, but they're like the pre-MCU Guardians of the Galaxy, so they're all wearing their like blue and red uniforms, and Star-Lord is like this very serious like space cop, and like Groot is there and Rocket's there, but so is
Look at this fool.
like this
Look
female
at this fool.
quasar. Oh, what up, man?
Hey.
Yo,
What up? What up? What up?
what's up with you?
You don't have to worry about him. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Ignore me.
He's just hanging out. Yeah, it was just like this funny little like time capsule side note of like going back and seeing like the Guardians before the movies.
Yeah,
It was fun.
yeah. There was. I had an
didn't even think Drax was
example.
there.
Drax is a character?
I had an example of like the thing that changed the popularity, and I can't fucking remember what it was now. I had
Star
like a
Wars
really good
sequels.
example. I mean, I'd love to have a whole fucking episode about that because I could talk about that forever. But to be brief, yeah, like they made episode 7 because it was popular, and like yeah, maybe George Lucas planned on making them eventually anyways. But they made episode 7; it was pretty good. They made episode 8, and it was very controversial. And then they just had a fucking knee-jerk reaction and made a fucking shitty-ass episode 9 that made no fucking sense. And you're like, great, Disney, good job, fucking morons. It's just, so brutal.
Yeah.
Just bad, really, really bad. But like, yeah, like I again, I don't want to. I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna fucking get into it. But like, as much as people, diss the prequel movies. At least George Lucas was still doing the thing he wanted to do, and he wasn't fucking like doing something because someone wanted it a certain way. Like that was the story he wanted to tell, and so it feels more authentic when.
Can't leave her.
As much as the directing or the writing or whatever is kind of like weird, at least there's like way more world building in the prequels than there is in the sequels. Like way more. Like
Dude,
so
the
much
sequels
more,
are
right?
just like, oh, the Empire again.
Like literally,
The
someone
world
had like
building of the sequel.
okay, Sean's cam froze, and it's really funny.
It's really good.
Somebody fucking
Oh
clip
my
this. This
God.
is too funny.
That's
Oh
so
my
good.
god. That's very
Bye,
good.
Sean. But no, like someone had a graph a while ago that was like, it was like, here's the world to what the original trilogy says. And then here's the universe as to what the prequel trilogy says. And then here's the world as to what the sequel trilogy says. And it's fucking stupid. It's really, really dumb. But yeah, they just took a fucking IP that like had, I don't know, I'd argue they could have done any story, and eventually it would have been like much like the prequels. It would have been, and it still is well received by a lot of people, but like much like the prequels, it would have eventually just been it would have just been I don't know, like it would have been loved by the kids of this generation now, and I'm sure it probably still will be, because that artistic integrity stands, and you go, okay, I see someone was just trying to tell the story they wanted to do. But that's not what happened in the sequel trilogy. It was a bunch of directors being told that they could do what they do, and then they were like, nah, no, you can't do that. No, not that. No, not that. And yeah, it's a mess. It's a fucking mess.
But hey,
Goddamn
mess.
mess.
Rey's the greatest Jedi ever, right, Brandon?
Hey, she also has the yellow lightsaber, which I'm down for.
Yeah,
I am very down for it. I will say one thing though that kind of irritates me, and like we're getting really off fucking point here now.
Hey, dude, what?
But
We're just hanging
whatever,
out,
that's
man.
fine.
It's cool.
But I keep seeing the posts, especially, I mean, don't get me wrong, our prequel memes, their job is to fucking shit on every other Star Wars film, specifically the sequels, and make the prequels look like fucking godsends. But they always, I don't know, I feel like a big deal about Rey being even a character is that she is like a female Jedi, and we don't have that in the films, at least not spoilers recently.
True.
Until recently. But I keep seeing
still not in the films, like in the
yeah,
actual, like,
yeah,
movies.
true,
yeah,
in the movies, yeah. But I keep seeing posts being like I don't know, like taking away that. I'm gonna let Sean back in. Taking away that like level of importance it is to have like a female main character, and going, well, no, we've had Ahsoka before in the show, and like this character in Clone Wars, yada yada. And I'm like, no, that's great, but the little girls that care about Rey being like a fucking Jedi didn't
we got into
see.
it while I was gone for like 2 seconds.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we got way into it.
Didn't see Clone Wars. And at the end of the day, like that is an animated character, and like yes, there's a female voice acting them, but I feel like there's a big difference there when you have like an actress who's been hired to represent a female Jedi character who have always been represented by males. Like, play a character in Star Wars, regardless of the writing or whatever the fuck you think about the sequels. It's very cool to have Rey as a fucking Jedi character because it's just nice to have.
But
You go,
Brandon,
yeah,
what
absolutely.
about Ayla Secura?
I'll kill you. I'll kill you. No, Sean, essentially what you missed was that we got into it.
By the way, my computer just fucking.
Nice.
game over.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I
Sweet.
honestly think I'm having problems because Vanguard is installed, and it like
Uh-oh.
wasn't happening.
Uh-oh.
And then I re-enabled Vanguard on boot, and then it's been crashing. So I think there's something.
There you go.
Going
Essentially, Jack made a joke being like, but Brandon, isn't the Rey the best Jedi ever? And then I sighed and I cringed and I did the whole thing. But then I was just pointing out how I keep seeing our prequel memes specifically, but other places too, make a point to be like, oh, like Rey's the first female Jedi, and then they're like, no, she's not. We've had like Ahsoka and like Ayla Secura and like all these other characters, and I'm like, but no, like the fact that she's like the main character in her own trilogy is like really important for
I would
everybody.
never take that away from anyone. I
Yeah.
really do like the idea of Rey. I just don't like the execution of most character arcs in the sequels.
Yeah, no, I totally
having
agree.
now seen the end of them,
Yeah,
Yeah.
being like where they started, where they ended, did anybody really grow? Not really.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I wanted Rey to, like, I really liked Rey's struggle in the second movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was super, super important because I think that's something that not only like I can actually like respond to, but I think a lot of people can be like, there's that whole thing of like, you know, Kylo's basically trying to gaslight her and be like, you're nothing and you're worth nothing, but I can give you everything you want. Here's the actual temptation. And then they just do the whole like switcheroo in the third movie, and that moment's completely invalidated. And I'm like, okay, so Mark Hamill's beloved character died for no reason. Like all this setup and sacrifice that we did to this thing is dead, right? Like I really liked Luke's arc in that movie because it's like, you know, he's the fallen hero, he's the old mentor, you know, the meeting of the mentor in the classic story, and then he's like, no, the refusal of the call even happens, you know. Then he goes through the whole thing, he goes through the I will teach you, and then we have the second act where he goes, no, I can't teach you, and then we go back to the thing where the revelation happens, and then he's like, okay, well, blah 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 blah, and then he finally owns up to, you know, his identity, which is the hero, and then he comes back. Like the whole thing feels really good because it's really tight, and the second movie has really tight arcs, I think.
Episode 9 doesn't give a fuck.
But then episode 9 doesn't. It just goes, nah.
Yeah, it's brutal. But yeah, anyways, like regardless of what you think about the characters, the writing, or whatever, it's just I think just like Rey being like the first live action Jedi is just important, and it's sad that I keep seeing memes like take that away from her. And also like I don't know, like Daisy really should also be proud about that. But like I feel like much like most fucking actors in Star Wars, the fan base just fucking rips any kind of fucking like celebration and pride from any of it because fuck them, everything is for them. So just irritation to me. I hesitate telling people I'm a Star Wars fan. I do on a regular basis.
Yeah, because
I hesitate it.
they're like super toxic.
It looks so
Yeah.
trash.
It's
Yeah,
brutal.
it's two ways they can go. They can be like, you're a Star Wars fan, so you must fucking hate everything I hate. And you're like, no, I like a lot of things about Star Wars.
Yeah, there's still a lot of
I
things
like
I really
the-
love. Star Wars
I
is
like
still a
the-
very unique IP.
I like the twin ion pulsars on the fucking TIE fighter.
it's a
Things
cool
that
sound.
are safe. I like when the X-wing goes.
The thing that's interesting
Lightsabers are
about-
cool.
about like
Like the voice actor for the clones.
it's particularly bad in Star Wars for whatever reason, but it's very common in a lot of like fandoms, is like this idea that, you know, the original trilogy is this like sacred text,
Yes.
and it's funny to me because like George Lucas and crew were making that shit up as they went.
Yes.
Like it was they were just like debating and trying to figure it out. Like Star Wars, the original trilogy, is not some like divine gift from heaven, but especially now, a lot of people, it's this shifting baseline problem, right? A lot of people now who are Star Wars fans like weren't around when the original trilogy came out. So for them, that's just like a foundational piece of culture. Like that is set in stone. But the people who were growing up, they're like, holy shit, like, oh my god, like Darth Vader is his dad. What the fuck? Like all this shit, right?
Emperor has lightning hands?
Yeah, like you can like I'm sure there were people back then who were like, what the fuck? You can't have lightning hands. That's not a force thing that the force does. And like they were just adding force powers in every like when Luke and Leia are just like talking to each other like after Bespin.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't a thing we'd seen before.
It's magic.
But you can do it now. Like before it was just Obi-Wan being a force ghost or whatever, right? Like there's all these things and they were just making it up as they went for whatever the plot needed. But now if you add a new force power because the plot needs it, it's like, that's bullshit. The force doesn't do that. It's like, dude, the force does whatever the fuck you want the force to do. It's made up fucking space magic.
You can heal people with the force. Anakin's going like, bruh.
Like, sure, you can have people with the force. Fucking whatever.
You have since the 80s. Read a book.
And it's just, it's very, like, it's just interesting the way the perception of things like that changes because it becomes like this foundational text in culture when it was, at the time, it was just somebody making some shit up because it was fun.
It's space magic. I don't understand why people are like, the force is different than like other things. I'm like, the force is just space magic, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's just space magic.
Yep.
Yeah, they like try to sci-fi it. You're like, this isn't a sci-fi.
Yeah, dude. No. Yeah, it's literally
space magic.
It creates lightning. Like I don't know what the fuck thing you could say about that.
Yeah, I think once Palpatine did Sith lightning, like all the rules were out the window. Like there was no longer a.
It's no longer like weird sci-fi telekinesis powers. It's literally he
just
made lightning power. He made lightning. You can't just do that. You can't sci-fi your way there.
But then, for some reason, decide to make it like a partial genetic thing.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
That's the other thing is that then George Lucas went and made his own thing weird. So the prequels made Star Wars super messy.
How dare you?
Like regardless of your feelings of whether they were good or whatever, they made Star Wars super messy because they started to codify things that were part of the mysticism of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And it fundamentally like changed the fabric of the universe in ways just like, oh, now we learned this new info about this thing. They changed the fundamental rules of how that world works. Mm-hmm. And it made Star Wars super messy. Made it really weird.
It's like weird because like something I really liked about the sequels when they first started was that like The Force Awakens tried to kind of like allude to that kind of like fantasy world we don't understand. And to be honest, there's actually a part of Star Wars I really like where it's like this like new and old world, right? It's like the old world where like we understood everything. We understood science, we understood magic, force. We understood, the way our civilizations work, the galaxy, all that kind of stuff. And then when all that crumbled, so much information was lost and destroyed that when you get this like new world, which is the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, it's like we don't understand it the same way. And I think it's hilarious because it's in such a short amount of time. This is something that happens to civilization over hundreds of years. But it's very fascinating to watch in this like fantasy world this happen. And I think that's one of the very particular things about Star Wars is how like old the new world feels and how new the old world feels, and it's just very, very fun. And it's just like a strange thing. I've totally lost where the fuck I was talking now. I've lost my point.
One of the things I really like about Star Wars is like it is a Western in a lot of ways, so a lot of our storytelling takes place on like the Outer Rim, which is really just a bunch of frontier systems. Like it's a bunch of frontier cowboy towns. Like Tatooine is literally like Mos Eisley is like the largest city around in like a few planets. So like when people are like, oh yeah, what the fuck is the Force? It's because everyone's a fucking country bumpkin, dude. No one's heard of samurai wizards. Like, are you kidding me? Like, oh, you fought in the Clone Wars? I was Jedi Knight. He doesn't go like, what's a Jedi Knight? He just like doesn't say anything about it.
Yep.
But that's true. Like I like that
he's heard of them in the mythology, even if he doesn't know specifically what they are, right?
Exactly. So you have this sort of like, like sure, that sounds fake, but okay. Like
I remember what I was gonna say now.
What's up?
No, yeah. So it's just kind of weird because like I feel like George Lucas created a lot of this like mysticism in the original trilogy where it's like, yeah, like the Force can fucking produce lightning and people can jump over fucking buildings and like, you know, like what else could they do, right? And then he decided to try to define it all in the prequels, which everyone really hated, and then like Dooku used lightning, and you're like, okay, so it's just it's a Sith thing, it's a Sith power that's something too. But then like the nerd starts going like, well, Maul didn't use any Force lightning, that's weird, right? And we've never seen Vader use Force lightning, so that's strange.
Vader didn't have to choke.
I mean, the canon reason is that it's because he's robotic, essentially. That's like I'm pretty sure that's the canon reason, is that he doesn't use Force lightning because he literally electrocutes himself.
Everyone knows this.
No, if he uses Sith lightning, he'll short circuit all of his body.
That's why. Not because he can, it's because he shouldn't.
It's because he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because
he
doesn't
just
have to.
too busy having double bladed lightsaber
Yeah,
action.
and then like
you can't lightning if you.
But then also no, go ahead.
I get the feeling that Maul just never finished his Sith stuff.
Well, okay, so then there's the other thing, right? And then before the sequels came out, they then started to canonize all the books and the comics, and they essentially just said that it was just a very, very advanced Sith ability, right? So it's like the idea is that Maul's a great Sith, a great.
I don't know.
Well, the only two people
Ray
we've ever
did it easy.
Shut
You
the
got
fuck up!
mad
I'm getting
one
there.
time.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I'm ahead.
So
of
we
you,
have
sorry.
Palpatine and Dooku, who are both old fucks, and they like produce Force lightning. You're like, okay, this makes sense now, right? And then
They raise it like cattle.
They and then the sequel trilogy comes out
Force lightning.
in a bottle.
Force lightning husbandry.
And then the sequel trilogy tries to create that kind of like mysticism again around the Force, which I think was appropriate because like it was in this post original trilogy world, and the sequel trilogy is a reaction to the prequel trilogy. 100% it is. There's a reason why episode 7 mirrors A New Hope so much, right? Like they wanted to bring you back
so much. They go to a forest planet, they go to a desert planet, they go to an ice planet. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Yes.
Brandon, were you trying to finish
Correct.
a thought and Sean kept
I
interrupting?
was. Yes, I was.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
But then they went like really far in one direction, The Last Jedi, so it like made everyone like fucking get all fucking uppity about it and fight and complain and just fucking like I hate you, fucking Star Wars fans are the worst. So then they made episode 9 and they're like, okay, well we have to fix everything, but they didn't know what they were doing, and so they decided to then make Force lightning genetic and make it like I guess they kind of imply that it takes a certain like you have to be a certain powerful like level of Force user in order to use
Your
it.
midichlorian count has to be of a certain degree.
Exactly, right? But without saying midichlorians.
Yeah.
Like it's weird, right? Like so they're like yeah, like Rey is particularly powerful and she has a lot of Force abilities. Does she have a lot of midichlorians? I don't know what that is. What did you say? Right? And they're like, you know, they're trying to like avoid the prequel trilogy, which is really weird. And then she just produces Force lightning because she's desperate. And
husbandry.
Yeah.
I rushed these out in post-production so fast.
To be honest, if I was told I had to write a plot regarding the grandchild of Palpatine, I probably would have also gotten them to do Force lightning at some point. That just
I would
feels
also make
like
them evil though, because that's fun.
that too. But it would have been a very obvious connection. Like it makes sense if that's the goal, right? That's the end goal.
Yeah.
But I don't like the use of Palpatine to begin with, so that's another issue. But
You know what?
But it's just a whole fucking weird thing.
You know what would have been a way better thing instead of Palpatine is like if you had a whole like separated from birth twin story, but they were like the Palpatine's grandchildren. So you had one that got kind of like co-opted by the light and one that got co-opted by the dark, and then now they're fighting. That would have been interesting.
That could be kind of fun. Yeah.
Instead of it just being like it's Palpatine again.
There are a lot of directions they could have gone that would have been
Hey,
more interesting than Palpatine again.
Very,
I
very
just
true.
hate it. I hated how in episode 9 that like they take on this thing where it's like, yeah, the Palpatines, the Skywalkers are always entangled with each other, and I'm like, there's always just been one Palpatine, so it's never felt
Yeah.
that way. You have
Because, like,
several
never that way.
Skywalkers over several
They created
generations,
the
but it's always
idea
one
of this,
Palpatine.
like, dynasty, but like that's not. It's that weird thing of like the longer a thing goes, the more like the meta commentary around the thing influences the thing itself.
Yeah.
right? Like for us, it's like, oh shit, Palpatine, and like we as the audience have like seen him as like a fucking Senator Sheev and like go through and do his whole thing, and then seen him as the Emperor later. And like we've probably played games or read comics or like seen EU shit or whatever where we've like seen like more of Palpatine, and there's all this stuff about him being cloned like in EU comics and books and stuff.
Yeah.
So then that starts to then color the like what should be sort of like the original source, which is the films, which can be really cool, like, you know, watching Mandalorian and having like certain blasters and stuff, and you see it and you're like, I know that blaster because it's the same blaster in the original movies that's in the video games, it's in the comics, because they always use the same stuff, because the material culture continuity is fucking insane, and that shit is really cool. But the way that it can then double back and like affect the story of the other stuff in ways that like doesn't necessarily make sense in the main continuity of the films, but like we graft meaning onto it because of our concept of Star Wars as like a piece of fiction, is very bizarre. The other thing I was going to say is that they made Jedis weird.
Huh?
The prequels, they made Jedis super weird.
What do you mean?
Because the first time we meet a Jedi, he's hiding out, like this is in the original trilogy. He's hiding out away and he's trying to avoid being seen, and the Jedi Order is gone. So he's wearing like the clothes of this desert planet, and he talks about how he used to be like a soldier. He says like, oh, I fought in the Clone Wars. And George Lucas is specifically trying to evoke certain concepts. So when he says Jedi Knight, he says that specifically because this is a man who uses like a sword and fought in a war. And he's trying to like, he's trading on tropes. He's trading on fantasy tropes. And he's trading on like Flash Gordon, like pulp serial stuff. So like that is supposed to mean something very specific when he says Jedi Knight. And then he has like a sword fight with Vader, and like it's all about, you know, and then even like Palpatine, he's the dark sorcerer. Like Darth Vader is the Dark Knight. He's the evil knight who works for the Dark Wizard. That's what Palpatine is. He's the evil wizard in the robe, and he hides in his tower. That's Palpatine. Then when you get into the prequels, George Lucas's like concept of Jedi had changed. So within the continuity of the world, he then tries to turn them into like monks.
Yeah.
And they're wearing the same robes that Obi-Wan was wearing to try to hide from the Empire, but now he's just dressed like a Jedi. And they don't anymore make sense. Like who are the Jedi? Why are they involved in these wars if they're just like an organization that functions to train people in the use of the Force? Then somehow they're like super involved in politics. Like they're on the same planet as like the Galactic Senate, and they work with the Senate, but they're an independent organization. Like
makes sense to me.
It's so weird.
As knights, they should have been like people in the employ of high-ranking nobles.
Or at least like
something.
At least something in between, right? Like, because there are several times in both episode 1 and episode 2 where several of the Jedi make a point being like, we're just like peacekeepers, like we don't fight, we just like they have a more like monk like ideology, and you're like, okay, that's fine. But then all of canon from that point on, from episode 2 up until the turn of Anakin Skywalker, is them being referred to as generals and being like leading battalions into war and knowing how to fly starships and obliterate enemy forces. And you're like, what?
They're like
robots.
That's different.
They're like the deadliest single like humanoids in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Like a single Jedi is the single most or Sith is the single most like powerful single humanoid entity in the galaxy.
Yeah, and like
they're super soldiers.
Warrior monks exist.
Yes,
but they exist to hold up their own like ideology and their morality as opposed to fighting for someone else's cause. Being enlisted.
Yeah. Warrior monks, I think like Shaolin monks have at some point engaged in warfare.
There is a level of patriotism. Thing. Yeah, there's a level of patriotism that I know that some monastic traditions have where like it's like, yeah, they're there to fight because they'll protect their home kind of a thing. But like when you're dealing with a system that has like a built-in government and it's obviously a very developed planet and like there's a whole system and there's a grand army and everything, why do you need the monks? Why do you need the monks? What are the monks for? Right? It's just it's kind of silly, right? Which, I mean, bless Dave Filoni's heart, he then kind of made them more knight-like in any of the extended content, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. I love it. They wear armor.
So that's and they should. And that's sort of the thing that I was
cool.
getting at when I said like they made like it makes Star Wars messy, because already it's the same creator, but already the prequels are kind of doing this with the original trilogy. Like they don't quite actually go together very well. And so then when you have like, okay, we're going to try to make a sequel trilogy that exists in the same universe, in the same like world that now we've seen the prequel trilogy, we know about that content, and that has gone on to influence the greater Star Wars universe, because that paints a picture of what life was like before the original trilogy. But we're also trying to make it like a narrative and thematic sequel to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
How do you blend those two things? Because they're very different. They're very, very different.
Oh.
Star Wars, I love you, but I hate you.
Star Wars is messy, man. I'm like, I have a great time, but like, you can't take Star Wars too seriously. That's the problem. It's like
That's the problem, right? Like,
Well, like Kyle and I often talk about this. Kyle has this whole thing about like his biggest problem, and it's also mine too. Okay, so the Mandalorian has set up a fucking huge question for the New Republic. Like it's bad. It becomes bad world building. Okay, I'm the New Republic leader, and we just won the Battle of Jakku, and we know there's Imperial remnants out there who are operating in minor splinter factions, who have taken over like small towns or,
I know what you're about to say.
or systems. It's time to demilitarize and get rid of our fleet? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Why? Why?
Well, I honestly think, because this is a problem I had with Force Awakens, but I honestly think it's a problem with the world, the implied world building done by Force Awakens. It doesn't affect the story of Force Awakens, but you get to a point where you have to go, okay, how did the First Order, the remnants of the Empire, become such a big deal after the victory that our heroes won in the original trilogy? Like, how did we? It makes for like, you know, it's a satisfying, like nostalgic, like, oh, you know, we've got the Resistance and they're fighting the First Order, and we get to hit these beats, and they go to the ice planet, and they start on they start on Tatooine, like they start on the desert planet, and like you do all these things. But if you then take a step back at like the wider world and the scope, the only way for that to have happened is if the successful rebellion in the established New Republic demilitarizes and gets rid of their fleet, because they smashed the Empire. How did they get that much power in so little time?
Yeah, it's bad world building.
It's the Mandalorian is forced to pick up the pieces of the implied bad world building of the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And that bugged me right away, because again, the nostalgia, you're like, oh yeah, it's like A New Hope, and you're like, the world state should be very different now from A New Hope, because we saw the prequels, we know how bad shit got, and then we saw how good things were when Luke, Leia, and Han fought Vader and Palpatine and beat the Empire. That was the whole point of the original trilogy. Why is the world state now the same as it was when we did A New Hope?
Yep.
We need a new world state, and this shouldn't be it.
Nostalgia.
Like so like there's a trilogy in the old Legends canon that has to do with Thrawn. It's like the first books that really came out, and Thrawn is like the villain.
Were the canon sequels, quote unquote.
Yeah, pretty much, for a long time, and that's why everyone's really upset. It's because they're actually quite good.
Mm-hmm.
There's this whole, basically what Thrawn is doing is Thrawn is basically taking the Imperial remnants and one by one, like manufacturing them into an army again, by like escaping into like the unknown regions or whatever. So like they go to like this, the Empire remnants like leave the majority of their forces in like an uncharted space territory, and then from out of there make like hit and run tactics on like strategic sites. Like they start using guerrilla warfare, and like that's how the Empire survives. It bides its time by kind of like weakening the status quo like this, so that they can eventually come back and like be a military again. But it doesn't make any sense, like given the world state now, because they're like that. It's weirdly, because that feels like that's implied, but that never happens.
Yeah.
And then we get this weird on Exegol. You get this weird. where do they get the metal? But anyway, I don't want to talk about it. But like all these ships rise out and they're all like, we have Death Star lasers. And it's like, well, okay. How first off, I think it's implied in Legends canon that the Death Star uses kyber crystals. No, that's canon
Is it?
because that's how the Starkiller base was made, which is made on Death Star tech.
Yeah.
Because it's made on Ilium, and that's where all the
Oh,
force
yeah.
crystals
All the
were.
kybers.
We think it's Ilium. There's no actual like canon saying it's Ilium,
It's
but we're pretty sure it's Ilium.
Damn it. That or Brandon has lied to me. I'll kill you.
How dare you.
Anyway, so yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know where they got the kyber crystals. I don't know where they get anything. Just millions of Death Stars rise up.
Rise up from that. Yeah.
What a bad escalation.
Kyber crystals are just important in everything now in Star Wars. It's weird.
It's very much a case of like anime power creep.
Yes.
Of like,
Because-
they fought the Death Star, and then they fought the other Death Star, and then they fought Starkiller Base. What do? We've got an entire fleet of ships equipped with Death
And
Star.
the Emperor, they fought the Emperor, then the Emperor was reborn, and they fought the Emperor again.
And he's cloned himself into a
And
new
he can
body.
make an entire lightning storm.
Oh,
That will, yeah, like, oh. How does he do
Serious
that?
anime
Okay.
power creep.
Okay.
How does he do that?
Just okay, hold up. One thing that I just still think is really funny is that like so Star Wars is obviously really well known for their like visual and sound design. Like that is like by far their number one best thing. Like no matter how bad you think a Star Wars film is, you usually go in and go, damn, that looked and sounded cool.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking lightning storm is so bad. This might be a hot take, but if you listen to the audio, it sounds like the distortion meme. Like literally it's like, because it goes like, whoop, brrr, and it just makes this fucking buzzy noise and it blows your speakers and it doesn't make any audible like lightning sound. It just goes, brrr, and you're like, is this a fucking joke? Is this a meme? What the fuck, right? And I laughed in the theater. I laughed because it was so distorted. I was like, is Palpatine just like a meme king now? Like, like I don't get it. What's happening?
Yes.
He is, dude.
Yes.
He literally says, and I am all the Sith. Yeah. And, you know, it's just like such a meme. So good. So good.
I want to see. Hold up. I want to see if I can play the audio for the chat because it's fucking hilarious.
It's funny. I didn't even notice that. I've only seen it the one time when we saw it in theaters, and
That was enough.
Yeah, it was bad.
that was enough. But I was laughing just because the scenario was insane.
Yeah. You know what would have been great way to start that movie? Is if like the Death Star laser Star Destroyers, like they needed, I don't know, 3 or 4 or whatever, like a set amount. And like they needed to like coordinate, so like it was really about hunting down these ships more than it was just like we've got to go to the ancient Sith planet and have Palpatine being a spider robot. I don't know. Just anything other than just like a billion Death Star lasers.
I don't know if I can share. Hold up. Let's see if I can share my
Also,
desktop
it's been
audio.
said a million times, but Finn was so wasted in those movies.
Yeah, he was. He was
Um,
easily could have been the best.
You should. Like, there's an article or an interview with John Boyega talking about how fucking bullshit it was. And he calls out
Really?
Lucasfilm for being like super racist and stuff. Yeah, no, it's crazy. John Boyega has been relatively vocal about it since The Rise of Skywalker's been out.
Yeah.
But there's one specific interview where he's like, no, it's bullshit. They casted me, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do with the other 3 characters and fucking did not give a shit about me at all. Like, not even a little bit. Yeah, it's brutal. It's really bad. It's really sad to read, too.
Yeah, no, I've read part of that. Yeah, he's
Oh,
John Boyega's fucking dope though.
He is a man. He's a good boy. To share your audio such as YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Click on share computer sound. Where is that? Oh, okay. Hold up. Okay. Wait.
Turn my mic down here.
Okay, here we go. Okay, hold up.
Hit me with some bullshit. So.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Look what you have made.
Hold on, okay, hold on. I gotta find the scene.
It's like, are we gonna get demonetized right now?
Yeah, no. If I play the actual specific audio, it should be fine.
That's okay. We don't make any money off YouTube anyway.
No, that's not it. Is it right here?
Nothing will stop the return of the Sith.
Okay. It's so bad. It's just. I can play one more time.
This is actually fair use, Kelly, because it's reaction based.
All right.
God, that's terrible.
Dude, like if I didn't know that was a lightning thing, I wouldn't I can't tell from the sound design.
Yeah, it's so bad.
From just the sound, it doesn't sound like it.
Chat, I hope you can hear this. Yeah. So it's like it does that, and then when the storm then hits the ships, it then starts to produce like a lightning noise. One more time. And that's it hitting the ships.
Yeah, then it
But
starts to
before
kick
that, it's just.
That is
It's so
not
dumb. It's so bad. And I literally laughed out loud. I laughed out loud in the theater. It was bad. It was a bad movie.
Well,
It's bad.
Well, we just went to some places there, friends.
We did go to some place that was. Okay, Kelly, I made the name of today's stream. Damn, video games are getting expensive. And we did not do that because I thought
we
that's
did
what we were
not.
going to do today, and it's very funny. And chat was making fun of me for it.
All right. Well, we should maybe talk about that next week.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe
I mean,
not.
I don't really give a shit. We can talk whatever we want, but it's just funny that I kept making that the topic. Jack, no computer?
it says between 10 and 2, so
I love how Brandon's just like, yeah, we'll talk about this Star Wars.
Hey, this is the thing. This is what I like to do is I like to come in with a topic that's like something that's kind of been burning a hole in my brain and then just see where we go.
It's better that way, I think.
100% agree. Yeah, man.
Kelly validated me. I said I wasn't going to get into it, and then Kelly was like, no, dude, just get into it. And so I got into it.
I said get into
literally,
it.
Georgia called me out on fucking chat. She was like, Sean, I don't get me started. Also, Sean. Anyway, first off,
Very, very accurate.
yeah,
Very-
that's about right.
100% me.
Yeah.
100% me.
Anyways, we should probably wrap it up there. I got to go to work.
I was gonna say,
Things.
I think that's going to be
That was a good time.
for this week's episode of Stay Indoors. Come back next time where we maybe talk about video game prices, but no promises.
Oh, one last thing. We are doing Christmas stuff. We have decided on what
There
we're
we
doing
go.
for Christmas. We have not made an announcement yet, but we are going to
Let's
do
announce
that.
it right now.
I mean, yeah, we can if you want, and then we'll make like an actual
know
like
the
post
date.
somewhere. Yeah.
We know when we're doing it.
Kelly, do you want to do
We
the
know
honors?
who
You
we're
want me to do
doing
it?
it for. We know
Good.
what we're doing.
Sean's got it.
John Scott, there you go.
Go for it, Sean. Take it away.
That's the official announcement.
Shit, let me get my notes so I don't actually fuck this up. Because I'm literally okay. On December 20th, this year of our Lord 2020, we're doing a charity for Child's Play games. Child's Play charity.
Stuff
Child's
charity, yeah.
Child's Play charity.
We're very, very excited. Christmas time is really, really hard. Child's Play charity is a charity that specifically helps out kids who are in not so great situations. They're either recovering from surgeries, going in for surgeries, they're away from home, they come from abusive families, and or otherwise can't be around their sort of stable home life. So they try to get video games and games to these kids so that they can play and stay connected with friends via online social platforms.
And have distractions and stuff from
Exactly,
their
from an
stuff.
otherwise unpleasant experience that they are going through. It's something that we all firmly engage with and love and can respect and enjoy and maybe have been there. And so we're going to be doing that this December 20th. We're going to be doing quite a long stream.
I think it's going to be a long one this time.
One
Yeah.
of my personality traits is playing video games to avoid somewhat not fun situations.
Well, like, you know,
So-
a lot of it has to do with kids who are, you know, maybe in hospital or recovering from something. And like, obviously I'm a fully grown adult now, but I know that for me, like video games, I could have handled recovery without them, but video games made recovering from my knee surgery when I couldn't walk or anything just go from like horrible to actually like weirdly kind of fun, because when I wasn't in pain, I was just kind of having a little vacation. And that effect is only amplified for kids, you know,
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
have obviously a harder time dealing with that kind of stuff, and for whom video games generally are like a bigger deal anyway. So I think it's really exciting, and I think it's a really positive thing.
And for parents too, right? Like
yeah.
a parent being able to come in and see it, they're having fun playing a fucking game as opposed to just like sitting in their hospital bed, like not having a
Knowing
good
that
time.
they have something that's making it like not the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So we're really excited. We're really happy to be doing a charity for Child's Play. We're going to be doing it again on December 20th. We are going to be playing games like Overwatch. We're going to be playing some
Overcooked.
maybe Overcooked. Yeah. We're going to be doing some Overcooked. Probably going to be doing some Jackbox, maybe some Among Us. All the nitty gritty details are to follow. It's probably be around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Stay tuned for further details there. We're going to be having some other streamers on, and we're going to be doing a great time.
And our goal is $750.
$750.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can raise that. If we exceed, amazing. If we meet our goal, fantastic. It's obviously the holidays. I don't need to tell you guys how important it is to give if you can, and if you are able to, don't for any need, want, or otherwise feel pressured to give. If you feel like you should do something, just plug the charity. We're gonna have all this stuff ready to go. Plug the charity, tell your friends, tell your family, you know, maybe it'll get to someone else who can donate that way. So don't feel pressured. Obviously it's the holidays, it's really hard for everybody. So we love you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening.
Good job, Sean. That was good. That was good.
Fuck
Did
it.
you rehearse that?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't remember shit.
That's true.
We're doing it live.
I didn't rehearse once for any theater I ever did. I just showed up, I looked at Kelly, and I mouthed his words at him.
He did
and
do
then I
that. Can
did my own
confirm.
lines. I was helping John with the self-tape, and he was like, "You're doing it," and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, why?" It's just like I get so intent on the rhythm of speech.
Very distracting when we were on stage.
It's distracting
Anyways.
for me seeing people look at my mouth and then back up, and I go, "Oh no!" I get very self-conscious.
Anyways, I think we'll probably call it there. And
Yeah,
yeah, we
absolutely.
look forward to Christmas. I think we're also planning on doing just some other Christmas themed things between now and then too. I'm going to see if anyone else is doing some cool streams that we can maybe partake in and hang out with and stuff like that. And
I actually want
also,
to, side
yes.
note, at some point just on my channel, because I'm not connected to that, but I kind of want to just stream Miles Morales because I haven't finished New Game Plus and it takes place around Christmas.
there you
And
go.
I can use it to get footage, so I'll probably just stream at some point, and then if you want to hang out, cool. But you don't.
Hell
have to,
yeah,
it's gonna be super
there you go.
chill. I won't know how I can
Um,
just hang out.
And
All good. Kelly, just post a live alert.
I will.
Good.
and the
I'll
other
combine
thing
it.
we're going to be doing is going to have some really goofy, like donation goal stuff as far as like having to put on like some funny Christmas stuff, maybe chug a glass of eggnog. There's gonna be some fun interactive stuff that we're gonna have going on that you can donate to make us
Yes.
do stupid things. Specifically me and maybe Sean, but do some stupid things
We
with our
will
bodies.
be. Hopefully this works out, but this is the loose idea to tease and plug. We're gonna try and read the entire play of A Christmas Carol while on stream. You guys can like redeem channel points or donate to get us to like read the next few lines.
The next line.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and do that while we're fucking playing. And if that we run out of that, then we're gonna be doing other shit that we have planned.
But all of those details are to follow. For now,
Yes.
thanks for hanging out for this podcast. We will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.